Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Archon Team League Championships. My name is Freddy, and today I'm joined by Noxious from Team Complexity and Savitz from Team Liquid to bring to you another day in the action of this $250,000 league. So let's go ahead and start off the day by welcoming you guys and the entire panel of the casting desk. So Noxious, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I've actually not been able to watch yesterday's matches as a result of some problems with my internet connection, but I've kept track of the win-losses, so that's kind of interesting.
Well, yesterday we had some pretty intense series. One of the closest ones was a 6-5. Unfortunately, it didn't go Liquid's way, but it was pretty intense nonetheless. So Savitz, how are you feeling so far? Not just with the league, but overall over there in Finland.
I'm awesome. I mean, it was a bit disappointing yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, but I can't blame show too much. I mean, that same thing happened to me last week, and I think in a lot of the games, like for example the last game, he got a bit unfortunate with not throwing Warzone Commander at all, and we're still like as a team, we're really like close together, and I think that we can go far.
Yeah, that's right.
For today's match, I'm so hyped to be casting. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, that's right. Today's matches are going to be really fun. We have Forsenboys versus Archon. For anybody who doesn't know, Forsenboys is a team of mercenaries with Forsen at the captainship, along with Chalky and Oskaka. And then we're going to also have Team Celestial going to be making an appearance and try to grab their first win of the tournament up against Value Town, who's also done really well themselves. So taking a little preview about what we can expect to see, we have... well, we have two priests. That's something I didn't expect.
Whoa,
not just one priest, but two priests. And to add on top of that, these guys have the same exact classes. Whoa! All right.
Wow. That's no surprises except for the priest. I think that those five other classes. Are we missing something? Because I'm actually looking at this. Also rogues.
Druid's not here.
Druid's not there. So I guess they wanted to dodge that. Druid is one of those lower tier picks. I played it yesterday, and a few others did as well. But it's definitely one of those that you don't really want to play, but you have to play something. You can't play Patron 6 times.
Yeah, there's I think Gara played Shaman yesterday, unless I'm mistaken. Anyway, so you've got like Shaman, Priest, Druid at the bottom, like kind of the lower tier. What's the other class that we're missing here? Like, we're obviously missing another one.
Paladin.
Oh, there we
gets
go.
Thrown in, and the mid-range Paladin has also been struggling a little bit here and there. Just sometimes going 50% or less.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because you've got 9 classes, and you've got 5 of them that you know you want to bring, and 4 other ones that you have to rotate out of that 6th slot that you're just not sure is really going to perform very effectively.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So guys, we're going to go ahead and get ready for our first match very soon. But before we do that, we want to show you guys a week 1 and 2 recap video for anybody who didn't get a chance to tune in. Here's a little video to catch you up to speed. Yeah, this is a play to try kill your opponent. And he's really hoping that this is like maybe explosive trap so we can get that bounce back.
Correct.
Oh, Trump is so surprised. The freezing trap out of nowhere.
Did your fireball?
Oh, fireball is it. That allows him to kill him. And he actually ends up beating the druid player. He's got the lethal.
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to think.
Logo.
Is everyone really getting in here?
Oh!
No!
Just no lethal, because I thought that you had like 12 more damage coming right in from those patrons. Oh, wow.
It's a 3-3 didn't attack!
That's too many cards. Actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like getting a bit maybe too high. Maybe just cycle the Inner Rage and kill the Doomsayer.
That's really nerfed. Patron Warrior.
Oh!
What happened?
Yeah, with Shaman.
With Shaman. Taking a Grim Patron Warrior.
At 4.
Oh!
No! Oh, okay. Wouldn't have mattered, but give him so the Harrison allowed him to draw that second
Quick enough in this matchup.
Yeah. Live coach, you're on Patron camera. Woo! Look at that, 31 damage from the Berserker. All right, so those standings at the very end of the video obviously have updated a little bit since then. Temple Storm did grab their first win. Cloud9 was a team that they defeated, and they fall to 1-2, evening out the score. And Liquid is barely ahead of them too, but they're probably the top of the bottom pack right now because you guys have the biggest tiebreaker score. A lot of funny moments there. Noxus, you're pointing out that most of those errors seem to be coming specifically from the patron deck, which is quite amusing.
Yeah. It's one of those decks that I think, we've been talking about this, where the rope is kind of the biggest factor very often in tournament play, because they end up thinking the turn through, and then sometimes they just don't get the win as a result of it. So it's kind of funny to look at from a caster and viewer perspective in general, I think.
The animations take such a long time. It's a really sensitive deck to play. So many ways you can mess it up, and you don't want to miss lethal on a big league like this. And it feels really bad when it happens, like we saw there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. They missed this one moment that I was really looking forward to. It's when Tiddler missed an attack the patron, as resulted in kill Life Coach. Life Coach ended up dropping his own War Song, Unstable Ghoul, and Frothing Berserker and killing Tiddler the very next turn. And it was like down to the rope too, because you weren't sure the animations were taking forever. It was really funny and close.
Yeah, it was like the donation, basically. That's how we called it back then. It was like a donation of a win to Life Coach after the miss lethal. Because it flooded the board, right? And the ghoul could actually get the AoE whirlwind to hit for enough to give the kill with Frothing.
Yep, that's right. And that also leads directly into our conversation about some of the undefeated players. A few of that has changed as well. Life Coach ended up dropping a couple games yesterday, rebounded strongly and finished for Nylum. So the list of players who have come out strong 4-0 for the team is starting to get smaller and smaller. One of them is Chalky from Team Forsenboys. And we have a video about him to preview it for the last coming match before we get ready for Forsenboys versus Archon. So enjoy.
Hi, I'm Keaton Gill, Chalky, and I'm on Team Forsenboys. Well, I've known Forsen since way back in the Fight Night days, and he needed to scrap together a team, so I was one of his choices. I think the format's really interesting. We're going to see a lot of different classes since we have to bring out 6 of them, and each player's kind of individual strengths are going to be emphasized more so than kind of the Conquest weakest stack link thing. Yeah, I think the Forsenboys are gonna do pretty well. We'll bring it home. To all the fans of me and the Forsenboys, thanks for your support. Hope you guys enjoy and hope we can put on a good show.
All right, well, Forsenboys comes in as one of the teams on top. If they win, they join Nylum as the only undefeated team so far, which might come as a surprise to some people, considering that they don't have the expected team synergy. It's like, well, where does Chalky and Osaka really become good friends with Forsen? I've never seen them on their stream together on the Skype calls, but these guys are working really well. Savitz, is this surprising to you at all, considering their lineup of players?
No, I think they have a really solid lineup. Ostkaka is a very strong player. He's not that well known to the big audiences because he hasn't had that many appearances in a tournament stream. But he did do quite well in the Seed Story Cup too, and finishing second, so only to lose the finals 3-4. Great player. Chalky also has been on fire lately. I mean, 3 great players. What can really go wrong?
Yeah, that's true. I think Conquest really highlights the team aspect of this too, because you're only as strong as the weakest part of your lineup, whether it's a player or it's a class. And if you minimize the weaknesses of your players, then all you're exposing yourself is the weakness of the class, which is just subject to the meta game. And even then, your team might discover a deck that might actually be good, depending on how your lineup functions. So in this scenario, it shouldn't surprise too many people that Forsenboys is doing well. But granted, it's still the very beginning. 2 matches are done, but there's 6 more to go. And you never know how the tables might turn. There's still plenty of room for a team to make a strong comeback, or a team with high expectations to start off good, but then end up falling a little bit later.
Yeah, it's. I think what's really unexpected about the Forsenboys is that those players, I mean, Chalky and And Forsen, you really don't see them like Shockey's got a lot of exposure recently. I mean, I think he's been doing a lot better than he used to, but he was a little bit of a smaller name. And Forsen's been mostly streaming, right? And people very often associated with the laid back kind of streaming attitude that he's got. But as far as tournament play goes, when he actually starts caring about the win, I think that's when you start seeing the competition inside of him just pop out. It's pretty crazy.
All right, well, looks like it's time to begin the first game here. Mage versus Priest. Forsen on the Mage, 6-0 on the Priest. And we've been seeing a couple of trends here. The first is that a lot of teams really want to get some of these, quote, weaker classes out of the way early. They start off with Paladin, they start off with Priest, sometimes even the Shaman. And another thing, too, is that Forsen... Wait, okay, yeah, sorry. The POV was interesting to me. Forsen's also been playing a ton of Freeze Mage, and this should not be surprising at all. Looks like Team Archon is coming for that, though. A Kazan Mystic.
Wow.
I'm liking
this
it a lot.
lineup.
Yeah,
Wow.
I really like the Kazan Mystic. I think the idea of bringing Priest here is that it's going to beat Hunter somewhat consistently. And if you sprinkle in the Kazan Mystic, not only is it good in that matchup, but it's also going to beat the mages that are everywhere. A lot of people are playing Freeze Mage, so that definitely makes sense. I kind of like that.
It's a really tough matchup for Priest in general, but that Kazan is such a huge deal. It can completely turn around the game. It can win the game alone.
Timing is going to be really key. Sometimes you feel like you have to seize the board, and then Kazan Mystic has to go for his 50-50, but you want to isolate the ice block specifically, because that's ultimately what Priest struggles with, that you really can take your time being able to draw your cards, because Priest can't pressure you, and then you can go for the Alexstrasza, and Priest even has limited healing, because no one's really playing the Antique Healbot or Holy Fire. And even then, Emperor Thorson opens up more platforms for you. So this matchup has definitely not gone Priest's favor, traditionally speaking.
Yeah. Also, I think it's worth pointing out that based on that Kazan Mystic and what we were talking about, that it's targeted at Hunter potentially, I think it would make a lot of sense for the deck to also include the Healbot, which helps a lot in this matchup. I would expect it to be there.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's a perfect. It's a perfect fit if that's what you're targeting at this point.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. And I think the very first iterations, because the Chinese version of the Priest, right? They loved playing Dark Bomb and even a Healbot thrown in there.
A Light Bomb. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
I imagine it's
Light Bomb. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Got my classes mixed up there.
It's a good time to play the Blood Mage for cycle, just before the Cabal. Otherwise you have to ping it when you play it, if you're just cycling and not using it for the damage.
Yeah.
Oh wow, just the Emperor. Well, that's a huge draw.
He even got both Scientists out too before the Cabal, so pretty much the only thing in Cabal left in the deck is the Doomsayer and the Acolytes.
I don't think so. Yeah, I really don't see that Doomsayer coming out for the Priest. What if he plays like a Wii Spellstopper, man? Like that could be the craziest 4-drop ever.
I don't know. I think that card's still missing a little bit before it becomes really good, mainly the stats department. But I mean, this card does plenty by itself. Emperor Thorson reducing the cost of Alexstrasza and a couple of burn. There's 15 damage follow-up to Alexstrasza already, and if Forsen picks up another piece of burn, I can see him trying to go for the offensive very early on.
Yeah, Sixer really needs some card draw here, I think. He has a lot of cards that don't do all that much right now. The Kazan obviously is a great one to have, but getting those thought steals, potentially stealing something of value, getting also maybe the Cleric combos to draw for that heal, but just dig for it. Because the combo, like we said, the Alexstrasza and the burn might be coming really soon. Usually you don't see it this fast.
Yeah, the tricky thing is if you steal the ice block, then it's almost better. Like, it sure denies your opponents the ice block, but in this case, it's almost a safeguard against the burn that he's going to be throwing at you. So it's forcing the mage to build up even more burn, and the only way he's going to have it is probably through an Archmage Antonidas generating more fireballs or getting the Pyroblast. So I think, you know, stealing the ice block for defensive purposes, it's probably what we're going to be seeing soon. Oh man. Senjin.
Yeah. Is that worth a Doomsayer? No way. No way.
Oh man. What if he plays, let's assume he plays Doomsayer and Archmage comes out.
He could go for the Doomsayer here if he wants to just go for the Alexstrasza straight away on the next turn. But this is so tough because of that Kazan. Because if he goes for that Alexstrasza,
He's gonna get punished
Yeah,
pretty
and then
hard.
he-
with
yes,
this.
the burn in his hand is really limited right now. I wouldn't mind a Cabal on the Doomsayer here to just prevent that.
Yeah, see,
They could hit
the
this
funny
gun.
thing about Cabal Shadow Priest on a Doomsayer, you know, the Loot Hoarder is also a valuable target too, is that it gives you one more time, and it gives you, like, your own terms, so it stalls out the Alexstrasza play. But you first have to predict that your opponent would have Alexstrasza for 8 mana
That's
for
true.
this to happen.
Yeah, and he had to have it before that Emperor, so maybe a bit too risky there. Not really worth it.
So we have to assume he's going to go for the Shadow Word Death play. I mean, there's really no other line of play that's going to guarantee your safety, assuming he's got any type of burn in his hand. But if you don't do that, then you're exposing yourself. Well,
Wow.
that's
But
gonna be
he's
awfully
one
close. Yeah, awfully close,
off.
but not quite there.
16 damage
Icelands.
right now. If he picks up an Icelands or another Frostbolt, it's over.
Oh man,
Doesn't
so
get it yet.
close. And now he can't
Yeah.
trigger the ice barrier to guarantee the ice
Wow.
block.
Well, he would have to go 50-50 at least.
Yeah. But I don't think he will. It depends if we see one Fireball here. He might feel threatened.
I wonder.
So Holy Nova to heal, followed by Kazan Mystic. This oh, there's no minion played though, so it's not gonna be relevant at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what's also tricky too is that 6-0 has to heal. Oh, he's
Oh!
He's dead.
Fine.
Rest in
He's
peace.
dead now. That does it.
Yep. He doesn't
Rest
predict
in
that
peace.
so many spells, damage spells specifically, are the ones that are, you know, getting the cost reduced and being able to end the game here.
But after such an early Alex, I would expect maybe to be pressured into
Well played.
healing as fast as possible.
No, that's such a fast game from them.
Yeah.
The Priest had
Very.
almost no time.
Yeah.
Like he never had. He had opportunities to play the Gezan earlier, but I like the decision to hold on to it for a little bit like more surprise. But it didn't work out so well this time.
So he's gonna be locking his game with a Freeze Mage against the Priest. Again, it's a pretty, I wouldn't say one-sided completely matchup. I thought the Kazan Mystic would really help swing the tides around, maybe modify the percentages, but it wasn't
Yeah.
quite enough.
Well, that's what all it does, though. It helps
Yeah.
improve the matchup. It doesn't guarantee anything. First, you have to draw it, and then second, you have to have the situation where it comes up. You know, so many times people have like a Harrison Jones, and that helps improve a lot of matchups against weapon classes. But then sometimes your opponents never draw weapons. Like if against Warrior, they just don't ever get their weapons, or Hunter, they don't need Eagle Horn Bow to kill you. Sometimes they just keep pressuring you without it. So there's situations that need to arise. There's 2 layers of those tech cards that need to arise.
Yeah, you're right.
Also, what's important to note is that 6-0 also has shown that he has Kazan Mystic, and he lost, which is a really unfortunate circumstance because you can definitely guarantee that Forsenboys are also going to be trying to watch what's going on too on behalf of Forsen, so they're going to be paying attention to the stream on the delay, and they're going to know cards like the Kazan Mystic exist. So now with that information, they can use that to their benefit, and Priest can even be more of a liability now if they single it out.
Yeah. So do you queue up like a Hunter now because you don't want to play it against the Priest, and the Priest is not getting played again?
Well, it
If
could
you
get
wanna
played again, but you're afraid of the
bounce.
bench. Yeah, I guess because you're afraid of the bench, you might not queue up Priest right away.
But are you afraid of it? Because even if the bench happened, they would still have 4 classes available.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They might not be afraid of it just yet.
Yeah, just push through the Priest until it wins a game, and then you can actually start playing Hearthstone. Because that's
Yeah.
basically the class you want to get out of the way in this specific lineup. And it's kind of interesting, though, that both teams brought Priest. Like, I'm still curious to see how Forsenboys built theirs, because we know kind of what Team Archon's Priest looks like.
Absolutely. I do want to point out that one of the most interesting things Strifeco said to me is that if you anticipate your opponents not playing something, so for example, if Archon doesn't want 6-0 to potentially get benched and targeted, they can get away with trying to play classes that 6-0's decks would be good against. So if Forsen, for example, was playing like a really tight Zoo deck, and they're afraid of like the Oil Rogue and the Priest being good against that type of Zoo, then they can queue it up. In this case, Forsenboys also is tossing out their Priest, and it's up against a Rogue deck, which
Wow.
is one of the hardest matchups for Priest.
Yeah,
That's
but-
one for Team Archon right there. They didn't. I'm pretty sure that Forsenboys queued up the priest thing, and that they wouldn't. Archon wouldn't put 6 off to play again, but they did, and with the rogue. That's such a great matchup with rogue.
Yeah, it's as good as it's gonna get, I think, for Team Archon here. The thing is, I'm really still curious to see how Shockey's deck is built. That's the one thing that's kind of an unknown factor at this point.
Can we take a second to appreciate that Chalky's playing Priest of all people?
I know.
In the Forsenboys.
It's aggro Priest, man. I believe in it.
Aggro Priest. There is a version out there. It's not as aggressive as you think it is, though. It's got like Death Lord still, but the whole point is that you have Inner Fire somewhere in there, and you do some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. Did you see that Crusher Priest recently? With the Inner Fire and Stormwind Knight.
Seen it? It hit like top 10 in Chinese Legend Ladder recently.
Yeah.
I can show you the deck list. It's really funny. Maybe you should try it on stream, Savitz. You'd be one doing that.
Oh yeah, I'm trying a lot of different stuff, so I'll check it out. I'm just hoping that one day like Shadow Bombers and Mind Blast would be a thing, but it just doesn't go well with Hero Power at all to build it in an aggressive way.
Yeah.
It's missing just a bit though. Like the deck feels like it's just short of being very functional because you can raise hunters, but that's about the only class you can raise. Everyone else you just kind of don't sustain aggression long enough.
Yeah, it's because Priest is too synergy based to be aggressive. A lot of the cards that allow them to be aggressive require either situational things to happen, like the Zombie Chow and the Alkanai Soul Priest, or specifically that like their cards are better at building board and card advantage, which is not aligning to aggressive strategies. Like Northshire Cleric is really good, but that's not really an aggressive strategy. It's more of like a board control, card advantage strategy. So it's like all these different things, which is Priest probably just needs more tools in the end.
All right, so it looks like a slower type of Priest, obviously not the Shadow Bomber type.
Lotheb is pretty huge, though. If he can ever get to the point where Rogue can't answer high health minions, if there's a couple of injured Blade Masters and maybe even like Death Lord that's out there and making sure that Rogue just has to spend 2 cards or more to remove it and it doesn't get anything of value back, then Lotheb can sometimes seal the deal, especially against a class that's dependent on spells like Rogue is.
Yeah. No, it's a really great swing card. The thing is, the hand from Xixo is looking pretty solid as well.
Yeah, and the hand from Chalky not so good. Those Shadow Deaths are gonna be dead for a long time.
Oh, man. Okay, so with that Goblin Auto Barber, that signifies that 6-0 is playing that list Mr. Yagut likes to run and a few other guys with Assassin's Blade. And if you don't have the Harrison Jones, that Assassin's Blade is going to be so devastating for Priest to deal with. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. I'm expecting some kind of tech cards, but is it more in the line of the Kazans or the Harrison? That we don't know.
I would have to guess the Harrison Jones, because if you expect Patron to be dominant, people will bring Hunter, and you also know Archon particularly loves Rogue. They have 3 players who are excellent at Rogue. They have Firebat, Zolay, and 6-0. So I think they would probably be geared more towards weapon. But I'm willing to be surprised. I mean, I could have said the same for guys like, that Archon predicting the same from Forsenboys, but they brought Kazan.
Yeah, I'm actually... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
From my experience, it's a little bit like, against those class, like Patrons and even the Rogue, even if you run Harrison, you're still gonna lose. So in that sense, I actually think that it would make more sense to gear it towards something else and just like accept the bad matchup and because it's still extremely bad.
What if they went like a layer deeper, Savitz? They have 2 oozes, they have Harrison Jones, and they even just for the heck of it threw in a Bloodsail Corsair and just try to kill every single weapon possible.
You're laughing, but there's in the Vulcan League there was this player called Kuf Dawn, I think a Finnish player, like fairly unknown, that came up with a lineup to counter Bunny Muffins, and he brought 2 oozes, Harrison Jones, 2 heal bots, and some ridiculous healing to counter the hunter that he expected. It was like absolutely insane.
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. He won 2-0. Like Bunny Muffins couldn't even move.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
That's pretty cool.
Oh man. Well, I guess Lotheb isn't the most opportune time here, but it's the right time to play him perhaps, because everything else feels pretty weak. Northshire Cleric has 0 impact, and Alkanai Soul Priest is really valuable if you pick up Even on turn 6, you can use it with its hero power to pick things off, and then if you draw the circle of healing, obviously it becomes a really dominant board clear. So Lotheb seems to be the play, but you're not really loving this, are you, Savitz?
No. Everything was bad there. I think Lotheb was there. It's like the only play that makes you not fall too far behind for now.
Yeah, and if you're waiting to get a really good light bomb, the drawback, I guess, is in this specific case, the rogue player would have played Lotheb, and then light bomb would have just been shut down for an entire turn, so you would have taken like 15 more damage just for being a little too greedy. That's a good call.
I would expect a Lotheb, I think. I'm not sure. What else could he do?
You can also
Auto Barber SI. I like Auto Barber SI, or it's alright.
He's going to get destroyed by the light bomb though if he does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lotheb is the only play that doesn't lose him the game from what I think. Because of the light bomb in Sixo's hand. In Jackie's hand right now.
That's a decent turn for the Alchemy. A decent turn, not a great one. You could also play Northshire for card draw, I guess, if you're trying to push for that, but you're getting kind of vulnerable to board wipes after that, because you've got a pretty weak board against what they have. I think the thing that's going to make 6-0, Shocky decide how he wants to play this is based on how much he trusts the light bomb to do what it has to.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there's still like this overarching problem of like what happens if 6-0 draws Assassin's Blade? Does he just die in 2-3 turns?
Yeah.
He can't even stop Blade Flurries from happening, essentially, too. If his opponent camps on a high damage weapon, which would be 4 at the moment.
But right now, there's not that much good stuff in 6-0's hand. He really needs more cards draw. And resilient minions, like, for example, the Piloted Shredder. Those 3/3s and the 3/2, they're not going to be enough to win the game.
Yeah, I like the light bomb here. It's really giving Shocky a huge amount of flexibility as to when he wants to commit to any play. He lets his opponent overextend a little bit if he's going to do that. Like, the only way 6-0 is not overextending is if he's got a massive amount of burst, through Tinker's Sharpsword and can push for damage right now. But then you can still, respond to that because you're not near death.
Yeah, and Lotheb is already played, and
Okay. I don't mind this play. Everything else opens you up to Shadow Madness to clear your board. So this seems to be 6-0's best way to seize the board without opening up the Lotheb to potentially get wiped. Now, what's interesting enough is that that also makes that light bomb is a clear here, and its opponent's only down to 2 cards. And Chalky's like, well, next turn might be the sprint turn, so maybe this is an opportunity for me to get the board back if my opponent has nothing to do.
Yeah, get the board back with that Northshire Cleric.
I think he's thinking about whether or not to drop the Cleric before light bombing, so potentially drawing for next. Oh, he's not light bombing. Okay.
I think his light bomb is the only way he can deal with another Azure Drake or other 4-tack creatures. It's like he doesn't have the Shrinkmeister yet.
Makes sense, and also those Shadow Deaths in his hand are impossible to use if he doesn't cast one here. They're just going to be completely dead. So it makes sense to use the death because of that.
Yeah, and if your opponent had burst, I guess he would have played it last turn, right? Like if he had the Tinker's Sharpsword and all the face damage, he would have probably done that last turn instead of trading his stuff away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. He's gonna get a pretty effective clear though with that Auto Barber. Oh wow.
No.
Well, I mean that doesn't solve everything. He just lost his Pyromancer, which would have been almost perfect. And Light Bomb is ill-timed or ill-fated because Azure Drake's about to come out afterwards. But then comes the question, well, if I save this Light Bomb, do I take too much damage for it to be irrelevant that I clear the board? He might just kill me through burn.
Yeah, it's a tough turn. Good call there, because he would get wrecked by the Azure Drake if he didn't save the Light Bomb in this situation.
Right.
But the one Drake was already played, too. There is the second one coming.
Yep. All right, it's a pretty good position though for. I think both players look at their position and they feel like they're in an okay one. This is the position where you almost wish you had light bombed after playing Northshire, so the backstab couldn't apply to it, and you had to waste a weapon charge on it.
Haha. But then you'd be susceptible to the Goblin Auto Barter buff. Okay.
Oh wow.
Well, this is what Light Bomb is best at. And you've
Yeah,
dealt
it
with
doesn't get any better
most...
than that.
Is there any other like minion that you really want to target with it? I mean, the shredders are not even as powerful as you'd like it to be sometimes because it still gives a minion that sticks on the board. So I can't really imagine it targeting.
Dr. Boom.
Dr.
But
Boom, I guess, yeah.
It's a bit faded out from the rogue list. Most rogues don't run it anymore, and he saw the Goblin Elder Barber, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect the Dr. Boom to be there. So it seems to be the Light Bomb then.
Not to mention that he's got Shadow Word at the Ankle Ball Shadow Priest, so...
Oh, that's
he could-
also true. Yeah, he
Yeah, he can
does.
like steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, except he can't deal with 3 attack minions. You know, standard problem. Typical priest life.
Well, until he gets the Shrinkmeister, then that all of it can completely swing around. His opponent would be stuck with only spells. A single Shrinkmeister, I feel like, can turn around this entire game.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that he can heal himself every single turn from here on out is going to be a big problem. Because the rogue doesn't have any burst at the moment, so as long as Shocky keeps healing himself, the rogue's hero power is just not able to contest that.
Sprinter bust. Fan is okay, and it is sprint.
Oh, there it is. But it was
Nicely
only a
done.
matter of time. That's a great pick up, obviously. But I feel like the rogue did have more time than just this to draw it.
Man.
That's the
Uh-oh.
Assassin's Blade. Wow.
Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. That's so much damage.
I think if he picks up prep next turn, he wins.
It should
Yeah,
be
because of the South Sea, right? I think.
at least
Actually, he might
12.
not need it. He can just use the regular weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like sap and deckhand poison oil.
Because that's still 8. Look, you get 5 from the deckhand, and your weapon becomes 6, so that's 11. Oh no, he still needs the blade
Flurry.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
blade flurry is really big.
There's 2 of them in there.
Yep. So, if that's the case, then the prep allows him to put the assassin's blade, which still wouldn't be enough damage, I think. So this antique heal bot would have to survive, but that's idealistic to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Shocky is probably worried about Blade Flurry. His minions are kind of getting low
Right.
on health, and all it takes is one. He hasn't seen a single oil, so it's really just a matter of a little bit more damage pushing from Xixo to wipe the board completely.
This happens all too frequently when you're playing
Yeah.
priest, where you're like, well, sometimes I need to grab the board, or I definitely want to grab the board with cards like Akanai, but then I also lose my ability to heal. So, from this point on, Akanai Soul Priest also might be a liability, to the point where my opponents can just take advantage of the fact that I can't heal. But at the same time, I think that kind of pressure is really needed because priest needs to make some kind of victory push here.
No, it's such a good turn.
This is
Yeah,
such a sick turn here. He can
Yeah.
even play Valid Teacher, and
Violet teacher before the poison. Yeah. Killed it. Yeah.
that's so good. I
Yeah.
think Xixo's feeling pretty confident. This is basically the power of Rogue. Like we were talking about this just before. You said this is one for Team Archon. Well, I mean it's kind of being exemplified in the way it turns out.
Yeah, they want the
Yep.
mind
Wow.
camps in the big.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
second teacher.
Welcome to
Oh.
hell, priest.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's somewhat helpful here.
Actually, it
Thank
is
you.
very helpful. Yeah, you're right. But the thing is, it guarantees Thinker Sharpsword will value because it won't spawn 1/1s now.
Yeah. If he clears both, he probably will.
Yeah, he's got a board clear here. I wonder if Chalky's seeing any opportunity to go aggressive. There's 7, 9, 11 damage this turn, and one of his minions is really hard to remove. It'll have 9 health, which will force his opponent to either have the Blade Flurry and trade
Well-
some of his minions in. But even then, if his opponent had Blade Flurry, he'd almost be dead. So I think Chalky feels like he can't afford to play around Blade Flurry.
Yeah, he needs to play. He doesn't have anything else to play. He has to play it, but he's gonna be dead. I don't think there's any way for him to survive here. Because he can't clear both of those. There's the deckhand with an oil.
Yep. Even the 1/1 surviving. I mean, you don't really necessarily need a deckhand, just 2 more damage.
Or is he dead yet? How much is that?
6.
So it's gonna be 8 from the weapon and
12.
6. Okay, so he's
14.
not quite dead just yet.
Yeah, he's got 14 damage.
But I mean, how does he climb back from this?
Yeah, what does he do about that weapon? He basically needs to top deck Harrison
Yeah.
Jones and then pick up like a heal bot off the top.
Yeah, what's really funny too. Well, okay, I was gonna say, Sap The funny thing about Sap was that it gives your opponent a chance to heal if by some weird reason he has it, but in this case it doesn't really matter because it is Void Presence. Man, that Assassin's Blade though going to work. Harrison Jones?
Oh nope, that's not it. So Harrison Jones into heal bot would have been like 1 turn delay. I give you a few turns actually. You might have been able to win if he'd gotten exactly those 2 cards, but didn't pick them up. Priest looking to be a liability for both teams at the moment. Then again, I think the pick from Archon was very well forethought. I mean, that the assumption that the opponent would go in with Priest was a good one.
Yeah, such a great pick there. That's how you would expect Rogue Priest game to go as well. Like there wasn't really anything Chucky could have done better from my in my opinion, and it's just kind of bad luck or maybe bad pick. Like who knows?
You can definitely say that there's an element of luck to it because there was choice in its blind pig, so you can't ever truly tell. But if I were to guess, I would say that Archon may have anticipated that Forsenboys may have tried to play on the fear of getting benched, because a lot of teams have also been sending like one guy and then game number 2 is a different guy and game number 3 is a different guy, so they can avoid ever getting benched early on, even though it has the least impact. So perhaps they went into a level of mind games. Perhaps they just flipped a coin and 6-0 ended up just queuing again. Or maybe 6-0 tilted and said, I want to play again, and refused to let other guys play. There could be so many stories here. But the one that I like the most is the mind games one.
Yeah, I think it was mind games. They didn't expect the Rogue there, and that's why they queued up the Priest. I think the Priest might become like the big story of this.
Priest versus Priest in game 11.
Even before the match even started, we're like, oh, Priest is pretty weak. Like, I don't know about the Priest. And now we've seen 2 games, and both of those have been lost by a Priest.
Yeah, it's like
pretty bad sign.
Every single, as I said like earlier, it's the same thing every single time with 6 classes in the current meta. You've got 5 obvious go-to, and then 4 that you don't know what to do with, and whoever gets stuck with that, hey, I don't know what to do with class, tends to have a worse score than the other ones, just because the class is so volatile. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting too. And I think that this Priest does have some room for good matchups. It's not like it can be bad against everything. And unfortunately for Tobaganda, who says, I hope Shocking can go undefeated. It's not the case anymore, but he still could be a really valuable player because in the end, no matter which team you ask, there is going to be one player stuck with a lineup that maybe they're not as comfortable with as they'd like to be, right? They can't play the 5 other classes that people have generally accepted to be pretty good. You have to pick one that might be liable, if it's Druid, if it's Priest, Paladin, or Shamans.
Yep. Well, it's I am surprised we don't see Shaman. I think Shaman would have been an okay pick. I think it ultimately comes down to, of all the other 4 classes, which of those beat the... It's like they have their own meta game. Like, which of these 4 classes is better than the other 3? Or like relatively in power. So it's like, what are you going to bring? Very often Druid seems like the obvious go-to. We saw Gara bring it yesterday. He brought Shaman, got 2 losses off of it. And at the same time, Life Coach brought Druid and also hit a roadblock with 2 losses. So it still turned out to be kind of even. So it depends on whether or not the Priest is going to go like 1-2 or just 0-5.
What's really funny about something like tournament statistics, I know Monk was quoting it yesterday, and he did a very good job going through all VODs and marking them down manually to track tournament statistics for win percentages. But the thing about that is some classes overperform because the people who are brave enough to bring it are also well experienced and might even line it up correctly to predict some aspects of the metagame. So I think Priest in tournament play doesn't even have the worst win rate. It's like actually one of the better ones, but that's because guys who specialize in Priest would end up bringing it, like GCT Turns, for example. He plays
Kalento, man. Just
or
Kalento,
right? Kalento is one of them too. And it's like, wow, actually Priest has like a 60% win rate. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Well, pretty cool Zoo start. Pretty decent start here for Firebat.
No turn 2 though. That's actually a big deal. He needs to top deck something for turn 2.
What do you mean, life taps not a turn 2?
It doesn't really do that.
No, I know that. I know.
Well, was there any merit to holding on to the Void Walker so you can coin out Imp Gang Boss and then get another couple of draws for the Voidwalker to fill out the curve with whatever you draw.
Actually, you're
I
right.
would have
Because
went for that, I think. Because of the lack of 2-drop, I would have went just Flame Imp there. I don't think the Voidwalker does that much. So you'd have pushed out the Imp Gang boss on turn 2 in case you missed the 2-drop.
Yeah, what does it really stop at 2
maybe the thing is, if you go for the sure, you're not stopping a backstab either way on the Flame Imp, but what you're stopping is the possibility for the rogue to go for Deadly Poison on turn 3 and kill your Flame Imp, and you're left with nothing but an Imp Gang boss. That's like the only thing I could think of, and then the Voidwalker dies on the following turn to the Deadly Poison, so he gets like 2 kills with it instead of nothing for the next few ones. It's kind of a minor thing. It's not a big deal.
But even then, Imp Gang boss is really problematic for many classes to deal with. Rogue especially being one of them with all those 1 damage, 2 damage pairs. Imp Gang boss is not a clean removal. I like this play too. Oskaka setting up for Fan of Knives to potentially be very effective. Even though traditional logic shows you should backstab that Flame Imp for reduced amount of damage. Ends up paying off in the sense that he can now get an easy board removal and cycle through now.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, an empty board. That's a.
When does that happen?
Yeah.
It's like, is it really Zoo? Am I facing off against some weird variant of Warlock that I'd never seen before? Oh, he does pick up another Flame Imp though.
Yeah, and I was about to ask, I wonder if maybe Firebat went for that play because he was playing a slightly lower curve Zoo that doesn't go really high, but we see him have Mal'Ganis in hand, so we at least have Void Callers and other ways to be a little bit more board-centric Zoo that people approach as mid-range. So, you know, he was really banking on drawing the 2 mana cost there, or at least 1 mana cost.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a weird spot for Oskaka because he's got to get the sprint out, and using prep on sprint isn't necessarily bad. The problem is that suddenly the tempo plays that you usually want to get with that prep against a Zoo player are out of the window for a bit until you pick up the second one.
That's true. Like I personally, I used to do that a lot, prepping the sprint almost any time that I could on turn 4. But in matchups like this, it's so good for the tempo to use maybe on an oil. But the situation was that if he didn't go for that play, he didn't really have anything else to do. So it was the only play. You don't want to zap a 3-drop.
Oh my god, I am seeing an amazing Blade Flurry next turn with the Blood Mage. That pickup from sprint is actually really solid.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a 4 damage wipe on the board. Assuming it goes that way, there also is Defender of Argus possibilities, or even things that might annoy you, like a couple of Haunted Creepers or Nerubian Egg that makes you attack into them first.
How would you rate the Savich? I'm gonna ask this question to you. What's the win rate of Oil Rogue versus this type of Zoo deck? Very often.
I think
what do you rate it
does
as?
quite well.
Okay.
I feel like it's pretty good, but it depends on the draws too. Like if there's no backstab, the early damage might be too much.
Yeah, and
it's gonna be such a blowout.
Huge Void Terror, no sap, that
Loatheb.
kind of scenarios. Yeah, Loatheb to shut down almost all your plays the following turn.
Yeah, the Loatheb helps so much. I added it a while ago. It used to be more popular to want Sylvanas instead of it. The Loatheb is just so much better in many matchups, and here again, it's like the Loatheb is winning the game. Otherwise, the Blade Flurry would have been a blowout.
Yeah, he's got the heal bot basically. Like nothing but heal bot is really gonna get him out of this. But then that means your weapon is not gonna be developed for the following turn.
Such a weak turn, just playing a 3/3.
Yeah.
Like it
for
does
5
heal,
mana,
obviously, but it's so bad. Like the board is not getting any better. Looking at another 11 damage just on the board, even if he clears an Imp Gang boss. No, he probably clears the Flame Imp to reduce the damage.
Yeah, then there's only 9 on board that way.
It makes him such a powerhouse.
Sure. Yeah, taking the damage off the board.
I think Loatheb is the type of tech card that I find very healthy, that I wish we had more of in the game. I remember, I wonder if it was implemented to deal with Miracle Rogue and then it turned out to become something else entirely. Still being a thorn in Rogue's side.
That could be what happens. It's really funny how card rules end up changing depending on how you anticipate it. It's still really amusing to me that Grim Patron's a neutral card, for example. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure only one class can reasonably play. He's like, oh no, you can ping it and mage.
Yeah, you can injure Blade Master Rampage, man. Didn't you know that? You can play Rampage on it.
Yeah. And you're playing Master.
I tried it, man. I tried it with Crush, believe it or not. I was like, hey, it self-damages. That's gonna work. Nope, 6 mana for Beast Removal with the 4/3 is not worth it.
Well, you have a lot of cards, but do you have the plays here to stabilize? Is there one that allows him to clear the board?
Like this is where he would have needed the prep so badly.
Yeah, Dagger, Deadly, Blood Mage, like it kind of gets the job half done. But at this point, since you're spawning additional imps, like, is it even worth it? A sap play? No, sap on what? What could you sap? I mean, I was gonna say Drake, sap. Are there any Farseer, SI?
All the options seem really bad.
Are there any Farseer, SI?
You can't even like biggest minion on board is the Loatheb, but you can't sap that. Just lose the game if you sap it.
What do you mean you can't sap Loatheb?
Oh, you can.
Oh,
My bad.
Why not, man? You only live once. That's not too bad. At least he's gonna take away a lot of damage by sapping the egg before he goes for the board clear.
Sure. Yeah, I really like this play. I think it was very good.
Yeah, Osaka are playing really well here.
It's still almost unwinnable, if not unwinnable. Taking so much, and there's the power overwhelming, and I can never be an X-Pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just PO that poor imp and send him to hell.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see the Void Terror here. Just PO the imp and play the Nerubian next to it. And I guess there's gonna be a sap, but still, like getting 10 to face this turn, then it leaves the Rogue dead to a Doom card top deck.
Yeah, I think the fact that it gives you the out on a top deck is worth it, and the odds of the Rogue really coming back here with, you know, counter damage is very slim.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so devastating.
Okay, so if he picks up an Eviscerate, I think he can get a full clear, because he can start by sapping the big minion, Eviscerate the 4 for an.
Oh, he's got no sap. That's the thing, he just used it on the egg.
That's
yeah,
right.
There's no
Sap
is gone.
That's the Evis, but there's no sap.
BGH wouldn't even solve it.
Yeah. That's
Rest
it.
in peace,
I think he's
Skaka.
dead. There's really nothing else he could do.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see Void Terror swing back in the metagame. It used to be kind of a funky tech in Zoo, but now it feels like it's more effective than ever, despite the fact that the Death Rattle metagame is gone. Like, you don't have the old school, you know, Nax from a Zoo, but somehow the Void Terror is better than it's ever been.
Yeah, I think it's just because there's so many Death Rattle sticky minions that it just got even more resilient. Before, Void Terror was seen a little bit of a jokey card that you use to try to like cheese someone out, but I mean that was because the best Death Rattle minions were like Harvest Golem. It's like, that people used to play that card, and now you have so many ways to synergize it with all those extra imps off Implosion or Imp Gang Boss or the eggs and the Haunted Creepers. There's just so much synergy with that, and some people even, you know, they play slow like Sylvanas. They play Sylvanas and Void Terror Sylvanas, and that's when I rage quit and destroy my keyboard.
Especially when they steal exactly what they need to steal.
Yeah,
that's when it gets really aggravating.
I don't need my keyboard anyways. I play Hearthstone, so it's fine.
Yeah, I have a mouse. I'm good to go. I have like 17 mice on the side.
Gosh.
In case I play against too many Patron Warriors.
Which might be coming up eventually. We have 2 warriors that are yet to come up. Osaka has one. Zole has one. Zole has yet to make his appearance of the day. We have seen all of the Forsenboys so far. We started off with Forsen grabbing a win, Chalky dropping with Priest, and then Osaka dropping with Rogue. So yeah, I mean, Forsenboys off to not the best start, but I think there's still, you know, lots of room for comeback. The big question is, you know, when will these power classes like Hunter and Warrior be mixed in? And then how will it relate to classes like Priest, which seem to struggle currently?
Yeah. You know, I'm curious to know if Osaka would have brought Control Warrior, because I know Zele is a very experienced Warrior player either way for the archetypes, but he seems to favor the Grim Patron a lot more ever since it's come up. Whereas I think Control Warrior is still very strong no matter what, especially if you expect Firebat to bring, say, Freeze Mage. That's another good matchup you can always get. Patron's good, but Control Warrior is even better. It can do pretty well against Hunter, assuming you're not running against a pure mid-range. So I think Control Warrior wouldn't be too bad for Osaka if he plays it here. Well, either player, really, considering the lineups.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad, but I would still expect to see 2 patrons, at least from Zale, like almost 100%, and from
Yeah.
Ostkar too. I haven't seen him play either warrior, but based on Ostkaga's style, because he likes a lot of combo decks, he plays freeze mage a lot, and like, in general, just combo decks. So the patron would be so well in line with those.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, it's one of those things where initially I thought Patron was more like Freeze Mage, and then as time passed, it became more and more like Miracle Rogue. Like the deck switched playstyles from a more passive one to a very aggressive dig through your deck playstyle, which I thought was kind of peculiar, really. I mean, it's one of those changes in the way the deck was played and refined that I didn't expect. And you know, a lot of people bring up the fact that it's so hard to interact with it, like Miracle Rogue is. But I think it's almost solely enabled by Emperor Thorson. Like if you cut that card out, that deck suddenly loses a lot of its power.
Well, that is sometimes it really needs it more than anything. In the meantime, we see Forsenboys rotating Chalky back in with the Priest. Firebat gonna stick around on the Mage and seeing if he can close it out. And if it's Freeze Mage, this Priest once again hits quite the wall and must overcome.
It's so grim if it's freeze mage. If it's a tempo mage, tempo mage has been getting more popular, and Firebat is a player who can mix it up and is capable of playing anything. Then the priest is gonna have a good time. But he's kind of famous still for the freeze mage, so anything else but that would be a surprise.
Yeah, it's what he won his back-to-back Gfinities with, the freeze mage combinations. Firebat even posted a spreadsheet very famously that explains Conquest's best win percentages, and it was a really cool tool that he shared with the community. Kind of like a secret look into his success. And Freeze Mage was like the deck that he loved one of the most. Now, at the same time, I think you guys shouldn't underestimate a power of something like Valence Chosen, and he ends up drawing it. So if this Death Lord gets Valence Chosen on it, Freeze Mage has to get a lot of damage onto it, or Doomsayer has to be super effective against it.
Doomsayer is can be quite
effective, yeah.
pull off, actually. I think it's quite easy. Doomsayer is the key card against Priest, because there's almost no way to deal with it unless there's some Shadowword Pains mixed in. And I'm like thinking that the Shadowword Pain might be a good meta call right now if you want to play it.
I really like it.
At least one.
Yeah, it's good against Acolytes of Pain, against if you're playing against, say, a Patron deck and whatnot. You're gonna generally get value out of it against everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like playing Stampede and Kodo and Pally as a one-of. You're like, oh, this is effective, and like Priest can use it even better because they play Wild Pyromancers against some of the more aggressive decks. Like it still is with Creepers, Mad Scientists, and Knife Jugglers. So
it's a good point. You can not only kill the Doomsayer, you can kill Imp Gang bosses without triggering their effect.
Whoa, there it is!
What a time to draw it!
Chalky even made a little small face.
Wow.
Like, all right, well, don't mind if I do.
That is sick. All right, well, that's the card he wanted to see most in the world, no doubt.
So Jockey actually is with us on this Shadowword Pain thing.
Yeah. Now you just have to not misclick because you still can kill your own minion by accident. Okay.
But it doesn't matter because you summon Antonidas and then it dies to the Doomsayer and then you win.
Yeah. Would have been next level.
Yeah, that would have been so crazy though. That's the kind of play you want to see in a tournament setting once after the guy's calculated all the minions. He's like, wait, there's only one card left in that deck and it's the Alex. Well, goodbye.
I know this is not the case at all, but I'd really love the next card was Inner Fire. Just to smack him for 12. That'd be so...
That would be hilarious.
I wouldn't be surprised as a one-of. It's almost good. It's almost good enough. You can use it on Doomsayers with Shadowword Death if you have to.
That's the equivalent of a Duraxis that got buffed by a Defender of Argus.
Sounds balanced.
That'd be such a cool card if you knew what you were up against. Like if you knew that in some because the tournament rules keep changing a little bit depending on the tournament. And if you had a tournament where the rules kind of let you know that it's likely that you are gonna be playing as Freeze Mage and stuff, maybe you could mix it in.
It is one of those matchups slow enough where you could benefit off of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
How much burn is there? Actually, the thing is, it almost doesn't matter how much health Shocky stacks up if that Alex falls down before he's gotten any damage in. But I think Firebat's a little bit under pressure. There's really no way for him to do anything. After that failed Doomsayer, this Deathlord is stacking up the damage.
The only way to remove that last Deathlord is the Doomsayer. He's not gonna Pyroblast and Fireball it. Like, he needs the last Doomsayer.
It also gets healed by Circle of Healing, so if you try to like 2-turn remove it, it'll just continue to get blasted. So you're just stuck with a 4-attack minion that's going to be on your opponent's board until you get Doomsayer.
Maybe with Emperor he can go like double Fireball, Frostbolt being on it.
Yeah,
Pull out
sure.
a loot
Let's do
hoarder.
that.
Gosh.
That should do it.
That 12 mana loot hoarder. Let's
Oh
do it.
man, but that's such a like immovable object right now. It's pretty crazy.
So how important is it to keep Zombie Chow so you can use it for a blast with the Arcanized Soul Priest if you can draw it? Do you value it more as a minion on board at all, or do you think saving it for that might be even better?
Like as a Mind Blast?
Yeah, I don't think there's any point in playing it really. It's likely that it's gonna die before it deals 5 damage because of the flame strikes. But what he could do is draw 4 cards here if he wishes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
The Wild Fire really allows that. It's
Yeah.
I must consider.
Is it worth doing all of that?
I'm not sure.
Actually,
I think
you
it might
have to
be.
heal your opponent with Light of the Naru, because it won't summon a Light one unless you're still damaged. He's at too
That's
much.
true. Yeah, that's true. Oh, he could have drawn. Yeah, with that play 5. Just dropping the zombie charger. Okay. Expecting to deal more damage than 5 with.
Sure.
Or wants it for trading with like a scientist. Makes sense in that, because the mage might drop a scientist and then you can keep going phase with that Deathlord.
How confident is a mage dropping a mad scientist right now, though? Starting to creep onto a Cabal Shadow Priest range.
No, that's true.
This is also pretty clever from Jockey. He wants his opponent to ping the face again so he can Light of the Naru his own phase. This is something that a lot of priests and warrior players autopilot, and they're not really considering how much health they're at.
Yeah, Battle Rage as well. It's like works the same way basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I have 34 health as a warrior, and I can't Battle Rage in this perfect scenario to draw 4 cards, type of thing.
That would be amazing draw. I mean, amazing read if he didn't ping face here. But how can you make a call like that? You don't expect the Light of the Naru in this situation.
Yep, exactly. So this is a really advanced play from Chalky. Fireback could have made an equally advanced play, but those are just reserved for the crypt casts sometimes. We can get those obscure references out. Well, he's gonna draw 5 cards now, 4 cards.
Is he gonna? He's got to go
5.
for it, right? Like he's
5.
got to go to. Like it's too good.
Actually, 6. He can draw 6 because he can use the hero power afterwards.
Oh, you're right. Sounds good to me. And by the way, that Light Warden will be really scary. He's gonna have to ping that. He's gonna have to ping something, but he's gonna heal it back up.
Oh wow.
Okay, nice. Let's not get too crazy here.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
Will he overdraw if he circles again?
Injured circle. I mean, even if you overdraw, like, isn't is that a problem?
Yeah, that could be a good point.
Well, then again, you also want to heal out the Light Warden, so that it forces a piece of removal by your opponent.
I would go for that. I mean, he has plenty of cards left in his deck. It's so much stuff on the board.
No, you have to heal that poor thing.
Well, you can still heal it after you circle.
I mean, he does draw a card. Just doesn't add the Blade Master now. That's not even. It's quite good with the 13 and 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
This is exactly what he wanted.
Even if he didn't though, like he still had Frost Nova to stall, so it wasn't it wasn't the worst case scenario there.
Yeah.
It's still pretty bad.
We get excited when stuff like that happens.
No, it was pretty sick. I mean, Chalky got the Shadow Word Pain right off the top too.
Yep, goes both ways.
Okay, so Cabal Shadow Priest also has a little value. I mean, not compared to like other classes like Zoo, where you can steal Imp Gang Boss, for example, but you can take their acolytes if they acolyte ping, and that really denies their ability to draw too. So I wouldn't necessarily rush putting out there because you can still put another 4 or 5 out effectively with Sintered Blade Master.
Yeah, you can heal even better than the Cabal.
It's got more potential.
Yep, and it's also going to cost you a bit less, like 1 mana less. Not that you're going to spend it anyway, but what's interesting is I wonder how likely it is that Shocky can actually out-heal this Alexstrasza.
With this hand, it's not happening.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Oh, what a card to draw! Oh my goodness!
Sick card to find here.
Totally.
14. Yeah.
You don't seem as enthusiastic about it than we are.
Oh, I'm trying to count to see if Chalky can pop the ice block this turn, but I don't think.
Double Nova.
No, he's at 15 damage.
And only 9 mana, yeah.
So he has
Joe-
the balance chosen, so I believe he has 17.
Oh, you're right.
But still not quite enough.
And 2 Holy Novas would kill Alex Straza.
I wonder.
Yeah.
With that.
Next turn, maybe.
Yeah.
Because he can't yet.
It would already kill it because of Wild Pyro. It would be like 4 each on it.
That's crazy. If Priest was able to do just 2 more damage anytime during the game.
I kind of like that actually. Or is it any good? Why does he have to load up here?
Yeah, you have to circle to trade away some of your... Oh, wow. He's going to stay out of range of lethal and then maybe follow up with an even more like high pressure Lotheb. Because if Firebat goes for, say, a really high pressure play here, to go face with Burn, playing the second Lotheb, playing the Lotheb on the back of it is going to prevent the second wave of it.
Yeah, I really like that play. That was a good one. Didn't even need to like necessarily clear that, but wow, and denied us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Antonidas gives him more burn, and Chalky couldn't go for the double Holy Nova. He might be able to Holy Nova again this turn, but still the problem exists where if his opponent has too much damage, he doesn't have enough heal to combat it. But that's where the Lotheb really comes in, because you might have the damage to kill him, but you don't have the mana available. And then it comes down to whether or not Firebat has like a second ice block, for example, right? Or a way to kill from the hand once the ice block is popped.
So does he go for a Nova play or does he use Frostbolt Ice Lance?
I think if you anticipate your ice block being popped, you need to keep that Frost Nova, unless you really want to try and see if you can stall for damage here. I don't really think there's 5 damage burst that's existing. Like, he already used a Zombie Chow, right?
Holy Fire, I
We
guess.
haven't seen any Holy Fires in a long time.
That's true. That Deathlord's a champion.
Yeah, it was the carry of this entire game.
Well, this is painful. He doesn't have that Shadow Over Death.
Yeah, but with
Yeah.
Lotheb, it's as good as a Shadow Word Death. Well, then again, you're right. Like, because he still has to pop the block and then stay alive one more turn. So it's a bit
He's gonna
tricky.
get like 1 extra fireball, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1 mana from being able to kill the Antonidas. Now, I guess his best chance really is to Lotheb. Otherwise, this Antonidas would just collect way too much value just from 1 turn, right?
He has to do the load up, but it doesn't feel good because he can't pop on the same turn.
And then he heals him. Doesn't he feel obligated to heal himself too? Because he knows his opponent's been generating damage.
I mean, I guess you could just push for full damage. Because at the moment, you know you're not going to get Flame Strike. You know you're not going to get Blizzarded. So the only thing that's going to stop you is another Nova for 8 mana. It's like the
Oh,
worst thing.
second ice
Oh.
block. That's almost going to be the nail in the coffin here.
Yeah.
Because now there's, let's see, 12.
He can deal 13. He can go Fireball, Frostbolt, Ice Lance, and play the second block. That
Yeah,
is just
next turn.
disgusting.
He's got exactly what he needs. The thing is, if there's a Kazan Mystic here, that could have gotten sick. But,
There better be. I think that's the only way at this point.
yeah, there's not. Or the
Yeah.
turn.
I can see the appeal of a Holy Nova, although the thing about the Holy Nova too is that he, oh, actually no, he has Arcanized Soul Priest. That's fine. I was gonna say like he has to make sure to have damage from the hand, so that way he can kill in case his board gets frozen by a Blizzard or another Frost Nova or something. So Ice Block, and then you do 13 damage, and you have Pyroblast the next turn.
Yeah.
And
Seems
you
solid.
will have 6, so Chalky is forced to have the Light of the Naru. That's his last out here to survive.
Is that even enough?
Is it enough?
With Ice Lance?
think
Yeah, it's going to be
it will
marginally
be
enough.
enough.
you're right.
It would be enough, yeah.
The
if he
Light of
has
the
to.
Naru is his only draw. No.
Oh, but that's not it.
Can he do anything with Light Bombing? No.
Like, kill his own
Death Lord.
Death Lord and then steal. No.
Spawn a zombie chow, then kill a zombie chow, and then...
Where is that
Help
Kazan
back.
Mystic when you need it?
Yeah.
I don't think it was in their deck. I thought it was in
it was in
Crypto.
the other deck. I believe it was in the Archon's priest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. Well, that's kind of amusing the way that works.
So Archon put Kazan Mystic and Forsenboys put in Shadow Word Pain. To each their tech, basically. We don't know if maybe Archon also plays Shadow Word Pain. It might just have it.
Wow.
I remember the days of 8-mana Pyroblast. Those were the days.
It was not even the fact that Pyroblast was 8 mana and the damage cost to them. It was just the fact that you could turn 8 Pyro, turn 9 Pyro. It's like, well, that's just... it's like, well, you did like 5 damage to me and now I have to worry about dying in the next couple of turns. That type of stuff, so... Yeah.
Well, it was a pretty good match either way. I think that Deathlord really was what could have made the difference. Like that second ice block pickup by Firebat was the most crucial thing that could have happened, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and it's surprisingly close. I wouldn't have expected it to be that close, considering that we didn't see a heal pot or Kazan. And
Right.
Yeah, it's two bad matchups for Priest, and you could see that there's definitely an intended goal that Priest comes in this week or today specifically to try and target something, but it's just not lining up for Forsenboys. Firebat's done for the day, so he's got he can just relax, kick back, and see what 6-0 and Zalea are up to. But it's still not looking good right now for Forsenboys. They're gonna need to turn around quick.
Yeah, how's Firebat been doing overall? I think he only lost once in the second week, right? With his Warlock deck. Like he's been very consistent with his win rate so far in the league.
He certainly has. Firebat's one of the most respected players in the world. He wanted to represent the North American region for NA versus China. Don't think he got his visa issues figured out, but if there was a representative from America, I would pick him along with Strife Crow to be like 2 of the top players from the entire region.
I think a lot of people would agree.
I think he's the ace and the captain of the team as well, which makes sense. Even though I believe he's also the youngest. Zalea is kind of like a grandpa. He's like 26, I think.
In the esports scene, is like
right. And Firebat's like
grandpa?
19. Okay. He just turned 19 recently, I believe. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to imagine he's just so young.
Wasn't he going to med school and then Hearthstone came up, right? Or is that someone else that I'm confused? Because I know Dog wasn't there.
That's Dog. Yeah. Firebat was working at a car shop, I believe.
Wasn't he going to become a doctor or something? And you mentioned something about... I might have just fabricated a memory, but I recall him saying that at some point in the past. But, fabricating memories.
I'd believe it. I think he's a really bright kid, despite being a working adult from the age of 17 onwards.
It's happening. Priest is going to get a win.
Oh yeah. Whose Kazan Mystic is going to be the best?
Well, I don't know if there's Kazan Mystic in Chalky's.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, but it's unlikely. We haven't seen it in 2 games. So, well, then again, it didn't dig through the entire deck, right? We saw like at most 20 cards in one matchup. But it could still be in there hiding.
All right. Well, there's the ooze from Chalky. Oh no, from 6-0. He's got ooze and Kazan. What? All right.
Wow. So it's like anti.
So I think he just has to throw in like Blood Knight, and he'd have the holy trinity of 8 cards. Why not a Hemet Nessenwary? I think why stop there? Just go all out. Black
Tinkmaster Hemet combo, man. You've got to do it. You have to do it. It's a great combo. It negates anything in the game. It happened to me recently.
Plus the ooze. Yeah.
You got it, man. You got 4 cards that work well together. Amazing.
Now this is really hilarious. It's like, well, every time you draw a card, I draw a card, and vice versa. And then there's a such thing as having too many cards sometimes in the Priest Mirror, where you just start keeping your opponent's Northshire on the board, and you keep healing it, so that way they can draw more cards and fatigue faster.
A lot of the games turn like that at some point, where you just mill it, because these take a while.
Yeah, but I like this position here for Rick 6 because the Deathlord allows him to get a really good Velen's Chosen play that's going to kill the Northshire in 1 turn eventually, assuming it doesn't get buffed up any further, which, as we know.
And he also knows that Chalky plays Shadow Word Pain, which could be a disaster if he Shadow Word's Pains this, and then, like his opponent has Circle of Healing, he attacks his opponent Northshire Clara, draws 3 cards, and like has a 4/7. Although his opponent would also draw 3 cards too, so it wouldn't be the worst.
Yeah, the fact that it's symmetrical really evens out the the advantage that you would usually generate. Against another matchup, this would be devastating, but in this one, it's a little less of a problem. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Part of the Shredder. That's interesting.
Shredder and Priest. All right, so that's pretty cool.
Well, that was
Used
what
to be a thing.
originally you used to
Yeah.
put in, right?
Yeah, I think at some point it was a common thing, but it also a bit faded out and hasn't been seen in a while. It
Priest
was-
hasn't been seen in a while.
Priest, that's also true, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the recent list, like the one that Doc played, and it had Senjin Shieldmasters in it.
And that is old school. Oh, that's a good pickup. Well, then again, since it draws your opponent a card, at least you're like one Light Warden ahead, right?
Yeah, but it is as
Like-
much as a resource battle as it is like a board battle too. Like, if you have significant amount of cards compared to your opponent, and you're dumping your cards like Light Warden into nothing, then you're gonna be fighting at disadvantage because he gets to pick off a good trade. Like in this scenario, it's a pretty easy kill on the Light Warden.
Yeah. Wow, so many card draws.
This is becoming quite the clown fiesta.
Did say that.
Well, now you want to kill a Northshire Cleric, but then you have to leave up his Light Wardens. And if you heal your Death Lord preemptively, you also
draw
give
a
him a
card.
card draw.
Yeah, it's like Conundrum. This is a perfect example.
It's like, do I want to help my opponent hurt me type thing?
And you can't heal your Death Lord and attack into the Light Warden because then you die. It dies
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
no matter what, the Light Warden matches the damage and healing of the Death Lord.
I think the Clown Fiesta thing is pretty accurate on this one.
Oh no!
Oh wow, the counter Death Lord. Oh, this Light Warden is gonna be so good. This Light Warden is gonna be so sick.
Oh man, Holy Nova, right? Would be like crazy damage.
Well, I mean, at some point you're gonna have to be afraid because it's gonna die to Nova or Shadow Word Death eventually. But if you can get a Shadow Word Death used up on the
that's-
Light Warden, that's
even
oh my
Oh!
god! I don't even know.
Wait. Okay, so at this point, 6-0 wants Chalky to kill his Northshire Cleric, right?
I must consider.
Because like, why would you attack into that unless you're trying to anticipate that your Northshire Cleric would die?
Well, if they heal, then you're. I don't really know, honestly. Like, what's the point of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Valence Chosen should come out. I played enough of this matchup. Like the Valence Chosen needs to happen on that Death Lord.
Yeah.
Other stuff like do you trade or not or what do you do? I have no idea. But
Yeah.
getting that 4-11 like that wins so many games.
Yep. And it's so far away from being able to be destroyed or stolen by the Cabal Shadow Priest and Shrinkmeister. Does he have to like Holy Nova just this little Light Warden?
Oh man.
You could Shadow Word Death it, I guess, but
it also feels bad.
yeah, it feels terrible.
Well, that's interesting too, considering that Shadow Word Death, how many targets realistically are in it outside of like Sylvanas?
Ragnaros maybe. Oh wow, that's not too bad. Giving him a little bit more damage out of the Nova.
Yep.
Well, you can steal this now.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, that's convenient. I got my own Nova to buff up. Thanks.
Is this a point where he
Needs to have Light Bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, or like he's worried about overextending onto the board, but I don't think so. I think it's still really powerful here just to take it. You expect that your opponent will also be stealing it back, but that gives you the extra edge because now you get to dictate the terms of the trades because you have the better board.
Yep.
It's like the old like mind control battles. Back in the day, priests used to have cheap mind controls for 8 mana, so it'd be like whoever mind controls first, if they have a minion on board, they're like super far ahead because then the second person feels like they have the mind control, but then they have to use up their entire mana curve.
Yeah, and they end up taking like 8 damage in the process, and then sometimes it gets Shadow Word Death and nothing gets done.
That circle pickup is amazing. Like that Death Lord was getting a little bit low, but never mind. Like he can heal it back up now.
4-9, 4-8. Well, he's gonna looks like use Holy Nova, right?
Mhm.
Oh wait! No, he can just use Circle
know,
of Healing and
The injured maybe, but then again, that's the point where I think you're going overextending on the Light Bomb front because by weakening all your minions by like 1 health, the Cavalis suddenly dies to the.
So it's fine though because now your Death Lord's back to a 4. No, well, I thought it was 4-10, but it's 4-9.
Those other minions don't matter as much. They can just die.
Yeah, it's
Well,
pretty
now
much
take the
perfect.
objects.
Wow.
That's just bad draws.
And that Ysera is doing absolutely nothing.
It's
Well,
too
if
slow.
it's given time, it has time. It has the ability to dominate, but time is not on 6-0's side. This matchup was surprisingly quick. You know, it's one of the things where we said that it could take a while, but it really isn't the case here.
Yeah, it's like I feel like the one who gets Valence chosen often has a huge advantage. Here both had one, but then Chucky picked up a second one. And it's just like now that the Deathlord has taken over.
It's I was gonna say it's not quite over yet, but never mind that. That's gonna be another massive card here for Shocky.
4 damage.
But then the cleric is gonna draw for it.
It's gonna
Even
draw
though
a lot of
dies,
cards.
the
Yeah.
Oh,
dead
you're
cleric
right.
is going to draw the cards, so he might pick up a light bomb from that. It's like a weird interaction. Even if it dies, it still draws.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What if you don't Nova? Is there a possibility you just trade your stuff away into that Deathlord, get an extra minion? Like you really don't have to go for it necessarily.
But you also do want to heal. It's like part of
Yeah.
Nice little spot there, realizing the spell power buff. Plus the wild pyromancer is overkill.
Oh, zombie chow. Okay.
Where's light bomb?
Zombie chow. Okay. Where's the light bomb?
Yeah,
No,
it wouldn't do
no,
much
uh,
anything. It wouldn't do anything here anyway.
He would
'cause
have
everything's got-
to light bomb with spell power in order to have a
Yeah.
chance.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Sure.
not happening.
Nope.
Senjin, Valence Chosen opens you up to Shadow or Death,
Maybe
so that's
he
not an
can-
option.
Oh, wait, never mind. I don't know why I was suggesting that. I was like, maybe you can Shadow Madness and Valen's chosen something. I was like, no, it's stupid.
Let's buff it up and give it
I don't
back
know.
to him.
It's like, you have to think of weird plays sometimes with Priest.
The only play he had, but it's not good enough.
Yeah, Shadow or Death should be able to push through it, and that is a Priest win for the Forsenboys. It took
Doesn't
3
even do
tries.
He's gonna go for the Zombie Chow lethal. Fastest action per second.
I like it. I like it.
Nice.
Quick and concise. That was much quicker than
Anticipated, yeah.
most mirrors.
Yeah. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, Priest versus Priest used to be one of those things where people could justifiably spam Resident Sleeper, but I think that even the Priest decks have had to adapt to where, you know, I think the Valence Chosen version, you call it, was it Chinese Priest?
Well, you
that how
call it
it's like?
Light Bomb Priest, but I don't know
Right.
if Death Lords even warrant Light Bombs anymore. It's just kind of weird. It's just Priest now.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point it was called like the first viable version of Light Bomb Priest. It was a
Right.
Chinese one, so that's where the name came from.
Yeah, it had Gilbert Stalker initially, if I recall.
Yeah.
So it changed to abuse Valence Chosen, and then they realized they really didn't need it. But it is, I think the deck is by default a bit faster than its pure control counterpart that we used to run a long time ago, as like the standard priest list that Amaz, I almost want to say popularized, because I think he was like the first massive name to play it on stream. So it's like that version of priest never really lived and aged well, whereas the Chinese one has picked up a lot of steam.
All right, well, that was the second win for Forsenboys, a much-needed one, considering that Priest was on the verge of losing its third in a row and would have had to be... I think that would have been benched for Chalky, too, which meant, I don't know, Oscako, of course, had to come out. And also, you know, 6-0 being able to win with the Priest would have been devastating because that means Delay just has to win with Warrior and Hunter. And from there, it feels like it's smooth sailing. That was also a matchup where I think 6-0 had one of the best chances to win, even though he had a lot of tech cards that don't help the matchup. It's like, you know, Priest versus Priest, you always can run away with the game based off cards like Valen's Chosen, like you said. So now that the other Priest is out of the way, there's not many classes remaining that the Priest is like good against. You know?
This is discouraging,
No.
man. It's like the best matchup for priest is a 50-50, and then everything else is worse. That's
6-0 needs to match it up against Jockey's Hunter.
yeah. I
If
agree.
Jockey's Hunter gets a win from something else, that Priest just can't win. Well, it can. Like with the right draws, anything's possible. It's gonna have such a hard time against Rogue and a Handlock and wow, what was the zoo?
Patron, I guess. There's Patron
Yeah,
left.
and
as well.
Patrons.
Yes.
Also, yeah.
I mean, Light Bomb's good against them, but really, that's it's a one-trick pony. Then you get killed in one turn by a Frauding Berserker, and you're out.
Yep. Like the amount of time that patrons has against the priest is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like I can draw my entire deck and fatigue a little bit before I actually have to go all in.
Yep.
Well,
All right,
so
well,
Zale's gonna be playing Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter versus Rogue. This is the first time we'll be seeing Zale all day. He comes in game number 6. And and Hunter against Rogue has traditionally been kind of like 50-50, but I think you lean towards the Hunter nowadays based off of the way it's just curves well. And Rogue seems to be getting away from the consistency. You know, you have Assassin's Blade sometimes. You have 2 oils, and you just have awkward hands a lot because you're favoring more of the firepower and less of the like the old days of Miracle Rogue was like so consistent because everything drew or had board impact, and nowadays it's more like combo-ish stuff.
Yeah, it seems far from consistent to me nowadays. This is a little bit looks from judging from the Houndmaster and the freezing drop. It's going to be a mid-range hunter, so that improves the matchup for the Rogue. Because landing something like a sap on a high main can win the game. Against face hunters, it's so tough to win against Rogue with Rogue.
Yeah,
I mean,
and hybrid.
It's hard.
Yeah, I think it's always been the weakness of Rogue, and it hasn't really changed.
Wow, both explosive and freezing.
So, are we looking at hybrid with a more mid-rangey twist than usual hybrids, or are we looking at an actual mid-range hunter that seems to be running explosive on top?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I think it's more the mid-range hunter because I'd be very surprised if hybrid hunter ran Hunter's Mark. It doesn't seem like to fit its plan. Hybrid hunter is like excels at being able to take the board and choose to be aggressive or defensive. And then Hunter's Mark is more like board centric. Use the early game traits to set up for the mid range approach. Although still realistically, it could be either one. But I'd be surprised if that was the case.
I guess some months ago, like half a year ago or so, it wasn't that rare to see both explosive and freezing. But now it's usually only one of the two.
Yeah, how good is explosive nowadays anyways? Even decks that it used to be good against, like Zoo, for example. It's like Zoo has so many better ways to deal with it. Not only the eggs, but Imp Gang Boss is more resilient against it. And if you kill their Void Caller with the explosive trap, then like Doomguard or worse comes out.
Yeah. And also it against patrons and everything, it just gives warrior armor easily if there's an armor smith. Duplicates the patrons.
Yeah, like what is it good against? Like what is explosive trap supposed to counter? Another hunter player would probably get a bit of a problem running into it, but then again with the amount of weapons they have, it's like
so good against early aggro decks. Aggro Paladin, like you
oh my god,
put it down against it. Even then they have Blessing of Kings. But generally speaking, you need to answers like that. It's also good against Shaman, but I don't really know how common we'll be seeing that. But I just want to throw it out there because you asked a question.
Yeah, on the 22nd, maybe something will come out and suddenly Shaman will be, amazing. I'd love to see it. Like I don't know what's coming on the 22nd. Like speculation wise, if a good Shaman card comes out, maybe the deck will come back for a little while before it gets phased out again.
In that bad of a shape. Like it's not that far from being viable. And the hero power is kind of great, although it gets punished by Unleash and things like that. But still, like it's not bad.
Yeah, it's like you spawn a totem, you feed patron an AoE target for their frosting, so you die faster. So it feels like the paladin and shaman get punished a bit too hard by patron by design, and that might be what's holding them back a little bit from pure viability.
I think that the biggest problem is with Overload, because the upside from the Overload cards, like the power level of the Overload card, is not high enough to justify losing the mana crystals for the following turn. I think that's the biggest thing right now.
Well, it used to be, and then
it used to be good, and then suddenly people realize there's power creep, and then Overload didn't quite match up with that. So
Feral Spirits is a good example. It used to be good.
Yeah, and then 3-4
used to be sick.
Came out. Or Pilot Shredder came out. It's like I trade with both of your minions, and I still have.
And I still have a 2-turn.
Whoa!
I'm on Skype.
Yeah, Bill Gates stopping by and saying hi. I like that hold on an attack. A lot of players might feel tempted as a rogue to drop like the weapon hit on the Hunter Creeper, set up a better Fan of Knives, but you could get easily punished by Houndmaster. And he's just taking a very defensive approach. And I like that because the rogue really can't afford to waste too much health against Hunter. It's one of those classes where, as a weapon class, you generally try to, take some blowback, Noxious, in
Oh,
order
man.
to leverage the board. But against Hunter, you have to be really careful not to do it too much.
Yeah, I think it's the one class that can really punish you for blowbacking too much. Yeah, and that's what they excel at really, and they've perfected the art of punishing blowback to a point
Wow.
of ridiculousness. I managed to actually say blowback 3 times in less than 1 minute.
Yep.
That's impressive.
I'm not sure what to think of that.
It might blowback. What's my blowback rate?
Oh my god. So
Alright,
do you
well,
play the Shredder here? Changing the subject.
Do you think dealing with the Shredder or just presenting your own Shredder? Because what's the drawback here of playing your own Shredder? Your opponent might be able to get some major
The
tempo.
Hunter's Market if you really want to, but I like the notion you've got. I think it's just weak to sap. It's like the only thing it's really weak-ish to, but at the same time you can come back on the board fairly effectively. It's not really a problem.
It's like not piloted Shredder.
Yeah, it's a silent Shredder.
Alright,
Silent
sure.
Shredder.
It's a very silent.
Pilotless Shredder.
Actually, she might be the pilot, and the Shredder actually has like maybe the Shredder is actually just a 2/2, like a 2-drop, and she's actually the pilot. That would explain a lot.
It would. It certainly would. Well, in here you can put out Void Caller and you can coin out the Abusive Sergeant and get easy
That's crazy.
trades.
That is crazy.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think that's just too good to pass.
One thing you do have to always keep in mind is that Priest has the best way to deal with Void Caller for its mana slot response, which is Shadow Madness.
Yeah, and I mean, Sixo is not far off from caballing that Imkang boss.
Yep, that's also true. And like those are some of the cards that allow Priest to really commandingly seize back and forward.
Yep.
So if he's in tune, okay, so he obviously would rather the 2/4 die, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd imagine you try to do that, but either way, you're kind of feeding the Cabal no matter what. The thing is, if the Doomguard comes out, you're forcing Shadow Word Death, in which case Cabal is a bit less.
Which is fine.
It's
You
a
have
bit
Doc-
of a misplay. Yeah. Miss one
Exactly.
damage. You could have traded the Abusive first, because he's trading anyway, even after that trade. So you would have guaranteed that Juggle and face.
One off
You're
lethal.
right. You did miss 1 damage.
Oh, wow. For turn 7, that's not too bad if you pick up the Imgang boss right now.
That's probably one of his better plays, and then he's also worried about Shadow Word Death on the Doomguard, but he can always do that next turn. Also, the Imp Gang boss is funny because the way it interacts with Knife Juggler, and you know it might
That's right.
create more 1/1s for you to fight back.
Yeah, and then it spawns 1/1 that die to Wild Pyro, so another really good combo. Like up there with Muster for Battle and Unleash the Hounds.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta to clear the board. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. Is it even worth playing Void Caller when you don't have any demons in hand? Or would you tap?
Yeah, I would just throw it there. I mean, even if there's some kind of massive board clear, like, how good is the...
Light Bomb?
Well, it's pretty good, but he has the Dr. Boom to follow up. Because
Yeah.
of the Dr. Boom in his hand, I don't think it's as important to... I don't like that trade if he's going for that one. I think he should just push here. But I guess it would be a little bit less weak to Shadow Word Death. But if the Doom card gets Shadow Word Death, then the Dr. Boom is likely to not.
Oh, man. Now does
No,
he trade?
I think this is good. Just going face.
Yeah, but look,
Oh.
the Wild Pyromancer value wasn't too bad. Actually, at this point, it's pretty rough because that second Shadow Word Death is the most clutch draw.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Ever.
With the Wild Pyromancer, that's a clear on Dr. Boom. You do take some damage, though, which is rough. But this could be a turning point in the game where Priest is able to swing it back.
Yeah.
That was such a huge deal. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
Okay.
I guess the drawback is if the Wild Pyro dies, then suddenly the way you had to handle Dr. Boom super well is kind of
Yeah.
it's mitigated slightly, like, not by much, but
Yeah, he's avoiding a confrontation with Void Caller this turn. He doesn't want to evoke the wrath of another demon. And we all know that this is when you draw Mal'Ganis. And
win. Yeah.
not too happy about that.
Well, he does
It's
pick
a
up a demon
demon.
at least. It's not bad. It's gonna protect those little Boombots, if he wants
Well,
them to.
better than summoning nothing from your hand, right? Because that was the case beforehand. Oh man,
Oh,
now it's
man.
Shadow Word Death number 2, though.
Yeah, that's a sick one too.
Okay, unless...
I'm listening.
Wait, is there a scenario where he could just die? Yeah, okay. So if he
I'm not-
boombots and does at least 8, if it does 8 damage, then he can't heal himself to back up to 5, and then he'll have a Void Walker on board plus Power Overwhelming for 5 damage.
Wow.
That's the way this could be like completely out of Sixo's hand. RNG just got them, and there's nothing he can do about it.
I mean, do you even have like you can always heal yourself, can't you?
Yeah, so what you do is you Shadow Word Death here, and then you'd Holy Nova or heal yourself, and you go back up to 5 if the Boombot hits your face for 8. And then you Void Walker comes out because of Void Caller.
Why do you Nova?
Is someone
Nova, or, you know, if you want to increase your chances of hitting Boombots hitting other targets.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
Alright, well, here we go.
Yeah. So if the Boombots hit for 8.
Yeah, you've got it.
Actually, no, he healed a minion, so if it hit for 6.
Ooh.
Only needs to abuse it.
Oh, man.
He's one off
One
lethal.
damage off lethal.
It's the one damage that he missed earlier.
Oh yes, is that?
The Jackal. He
If
missed
that's
one damage because the Jackal trading
Oh,
wrong.
man.
Damage.
One off lethal Forsen, never lucky. What a clown. Fiesta.
That's right, man.
What do you do, man?
Oh, no.
This is the scenarios where it's like you really feel like it's 1 damage. How much could it hurt?
Yeah,
just
against Priest. I still have to go against like 17,000 healing, so.
Okay, but here's another thing though. Both Shadow Word Deaths have been used, and he knows that his opponent's also like used by a Pyromancer, so it's becoming increasingly more difficult for his opponent to.
But Cabal, man. Cabal with the Valence Chosen on the Void Walker. That's like a really intense taunt.
Yeah, and then they silence it. So.
Yeah.
Or even Power
do
Overwhelming
it.
should be able to push through it, right?
Well, it might push through. Well, then again, it's going to be on 6 health. I mean, it's going to push through it, but the opponent's... He's then going to have, like, a small window of opportunity to stay alive. Which he would be dead if the Juggle had been... had thrown the knife.
Oh, man.
If this game is actually going to go to 6-0, this is going to be... this is the one
Reddit
damage that
posts.
matters.
There's gonna be Reddit post and there's gonna be some videos.
Yeah, with some EDM in the background with some text-to-speech voice.
Of course. Thank you.
And some memes, and yeah, you know it, and some
Yeah.
people yelling, "Oh, that ain't Falco."
The video is going to be called One Dank Off Lethal.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Now he's subject
Oh.
to any kind of buff that kills him again.
Yeah.
But it does remove the most power on the board.
Like half the deck from Forsen kills him. Well, that's not it.
Okay, so
Half-
just
half the deck.
anything that does 2 damage.
Oh!
That is not what he was looking for. And actually, this play was probably the right
Okay.
one.
Does he power overwhelming and kill off something now, or does he just go face with the damage?
Thing is, Pio could pop the egg right now, but you know it's going to be popped if he plays Nova anyway. Thing is, it's going to give him the initiative to then answer with the Wolf.
I think I like damaging the. The thing is, like, the only out that your opponent would have if you draw like Doomguard number 2, because you have to think about the ways you end the game, is that if he has Light of the Naru, because he already used both of his like the defensive cards here with Shadow Word Death, so it doesn't even really matter anymore. I like hitting the face.
Yeah.
He has
It's his
to-
best bet.
And also, the Haunted Creeper might even survive whatever AoE he has, so you even have the 1/1s they're attacking, which might be relevant here.
Oh, wow.
man.
Senjin. Wow.
These cards.
He also has a 3 damage Valence Chosen, which allows him to,
We can
like-
get a bit further.
yeah, like, even start potentially pushing for lethal in the next turn. Like, he has to kill this 4/1, obviously, but then I think he just push face from that point on, right?
Yeah, with that 5/5, because you're setting up for lethal next turn if you do that. So Like, what could he even do to go through Senjin? It has to be a silence, and if he goes for the silence, he then has to tap into another damage source, because otherwise he's not dealing 4. So it's like a back-to-back owl plus damage source.
And this one owl is already spent to
Exactly.
create it early on the stolen Impian boss.
If you trade with a 1/1 and he draws implosion, then you lose a lot of damage and you don't have lethal anymore. I like this attack more. Mal'Ganis.
Oh, Mal'Ganis.
But I mean, Mal'Ganis just still doesn't necessarily guarantee him anything. It's just stalling out.
Those are not.
It lets you tap for free, assuming it even lives, which it won't. But I mean, the way this is gonna play out, it's gonna come down to like one turn where Forsen actually gets to play something relevant, because otherwise he's dead on board next turn, no matter what.
Oh wow, those cards don't do anything right now. There's no immediate impact from any one of those.
Yeah, Ysera might be his best chance, but then Power Shredder allows him to heal. Actually, what also really sucks is both these plays are 9 mana total. Okay, you know what? This makes a lot of sense if he's trying to clear the board here, because Ysera wouldn't allow him to push for lethal.
Oh.
So there is nothing it could actually win here. Like nothing.
No. Implosion on the Shredder.
Oh, you're right. Implosion on the Shredder. You're right. The hope is real.
Oh man, he has to first roll 3 or higher. No.
Oh, and that one miss damage actually cost him the game.
Yeah, that's a miss lethal from very, very early in the game. Oh man.
Yeah.
You know when you miss lethal on turn 4 and the opponent has 28 health? This is kind of what happens.
How often does that happen?
Only to Forsen. Only to Forsen. Rule number 1.
Well, to be fair, that's what makes supposed aggro decks. It's not even really an aggro deck as much anymore, but that's what makes them. That's their drawback, because a seemingly small mistake like that could cost you the game.
Yeah.
Now, guys, both priests have won a game, and they both went 1 and 2, but overall got the job done, because the 6th deck slot is always the hardest for teams to come up with. And now we have a good old Hunter, Warrior, Warlock versus Hunter and Warrior. So lots of the power classes coming up here.
Yeah, the biggest ones actually. I think those are kind of the most common classes that you'd go to. Like if you were to do a smaller format, you know, that's not best of 11, people would still bring those classes most of the time.
Yep,
it's true.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'm kind of happy in a way that we got the priests out of the way, because it's even though it creates stories and stuff, I wouldn't enjoy it that much if somebody just 0-6 with a priest. I think it's nice to see like a more balanced out match.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Say so too. And I'd like to see like Zalay also succeed with the Patron Warrior, because I think he's been catching some heat from fans and his teammates about his Patron play. I think they've been very like hard on him, and rightfully so, because Zalay has been one of the best Patron Warriors since the inception of his deck. He got to #1 on both Europe and North America simultaneously with the Patron Warrior deck. So he's more than capable of playing at his maximum capacity and not missing any of those damages and lethals there.
Yeah. On the upside, he can't be benched.
Yeah, at least not in this series. He has to win 2 out of the next 4 games. Yes, 2 out of the next 4 games. Otherwise, if he doesn't go, he goes to the 5th game and he loses, he's in trouble.
Yeah. No, I could imagine that Forsen might now struggle with that zoo of his. Like that was the one that he needed to win. Well, both the Hunter and the Warrior are not great for it.
Yeah, I think the Zoo's definitely going to be able to take a win here. I mean, I think Hybrid Hunter has a better matchup than the other archetypes. Against Zoo, it's like the only one that I really see having, you know, kind of a coin flip matchup against Zoo, if not a favorable one sometimes. But the moment you go to the extreme of mid-range or face, suddenly the matchup becomes a lot worse. So, yeah, definitely a good matchup for Forsen.
Oh, you like Warlock versus Hunter? I'm not sure.
Oh, I would lean towards the Hunter for sure.
Yeah, I hate facing against Hunters that ever get board control ever against you, because then there's two hero powers that Hunters have.
Interesting. I really like Zoo against midrange. I think it's one of the few. Yeah, it's one of the few matchups. It's the one I like if I'm gonna be going up as a zoo player against a hunter.
Mm.
I think you win like a lot of the matches against them.
It can be faster than the mid-range hunter is, so it's possible, it's doable. It's just some cards like Implosion are not very good against Unleash the Beasts, and when Juggler Unleash or something similar happens, it's such a big deal.
In fact, if it's mid-range, part of the challenge is that the tempo that you gain can easily be going the opposite direction. Like you said, Implosion, and then Hunter has like really strong, resilient value cards, and then even simple stuff like Hunter's Mark and Freezing Trap like makes you in a really awkward spot. But that said, if you ever get like a really resilient board and you can get like a really nice Defender of Argus off, I mean, Warlock is really powerful still. So don't underestimate it.
That's just not a great hand though. Like at the moment, this is just not the kind of hand you're looking for when you're playing a zoo.
So much better for the Hunter. Like the Hunter hand is quite amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is horrible for the zoo player. It's one of the few times where like there's absolutely no curve staring you down, and when you're playing Ironbeak Cowl as a curve play, I mean it's not bad here, but let's just say it's not amazing either.
Is it always Huffer, guys? Because if it's Huffer in this scenario, I wouldn't be too happy.
Really bad.
But if you go for the Creeper to get a safer Houndmaster play, I feel like you're just foregoing your curve too much. So I think maybe one time, just today, it's not Huffer. That's kind of what I'm sensing here, because the Animal Companion play feels like the best for the board presence, although the weapon does open up plays the next turn too.
But on the other hand, even Leok and Misha would get traded easily with the Owl if there was an abusive Sergeant.
Yeah.
True. You're
so I wouldn't hate the bow here.
Yeah. Actually, if that's the case, then perhaps you can go for that safe play.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, he disagrees with
a guarantee.
Actually, this is good because the Houndmaster gets value.
I'm not sure what to think of that. It's kind of nice, but Unleash is such a valuable card.
Yeah. Well, you see Implosion in hand for Forsen.
Yeah. So like he's gonna get punished by the Implosion pretty hard.
It's not that I can see why Zalay wants to go for the guarantee. And to be honest, we've all been in that position. Relying on Animal Companion is just like, it's just not there sometimes for you. So
yeah. And now Forsen's gonna roll a 2.
If it rolls a 2, it's such a big thing. Like 3 or 4 is not as meaningful, but if it's a 2, right this time.
The Unleashed's already gone too, so that's gonna be pretty good for Forsen.
This is where he was supposed to unleash, but nope.
Yeah, 3 or 4 didn't really have too much significance unless he got Mal'Ganis out with some Void Caller plays, but it's still very nice because he has Defender of Argus, and so he has multiple targets to kind of attack and push into. And Zalay here is now a little bit in an awkward spot where he drew his second weapon. And like, what's that going to do against the board?
Yeah, what do you hit with the weapon? There's nothing to hit with it.
There's always the face.
Yeah, when it's the place, I mean...
Everybody has the fast faces.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know where to attack... This is one of the first rules I've ever been taught playing Hearthstone. If you don't know where to attack, hit the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's a good rule. I think it's the basis for many decks.
Yeah, they joke that it establishes dominance, but it does put some fear in the hearts. It's like, well, you just attack the face, even though there might have been a good trade for you to be defensive. Should I be worried? And then they start making some really weird plays too, because they're afraid of what the implication of you attacking them so aggressively.
They're like, the guy probably has double pop whelming Soulfire, so I should probably start trading.
Exactly. Well, Forsen ends up just going ahead and picking off a little bit of trades, trying to cash in on his Implosion before maybe a second Unleash or a Knife Juggler comes out here with some massive damage.
Yep.
That Defender of Argus is looking very dangerous, though.
Oh yeah, it's juicy, super juicy. You have 2 super high value demons and 1 like reasonable value. Even a Void Caller summoning in-bank boss is pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's looking at the other 2, it's not that great. I was just thinking because he will have 6 mana, and it's quite important to get that Imp Gang boss out of the hand because you really don't wanna pull it. Like it's not bad, but Mal'Ganis, Doom God. Like those win the game.
Game-winning plays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Hunter's got a lot of damage he can start pushing. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he weaves in the Shredder here, instead of going for the bow, Shredder hero power, and then you start attacking your opponent, and then suddenly Definitive Argus 1 turn later starts making no sense because it looks too weak.
Well, here's a valid question, though. If you don't get this bow out next turn, you're definitely not getting out the following turn. You're playing Dr. Boom next turn.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be aggressive, and I like being aggressive here because you're putting, again, Warlock down to low health and forcing him in an awkward position, when are you going to ever get these bow out? So I think the Pilot Shredder is a good contingency plan if the board ever goes completely kaput. And setting up for Dr. Boom with the bow is also better for board control purposes. So I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, I kind of like that as well. If they played the Shredder, the Void Caller would have a perfect trade with it and just pull a bigger demon out. Like now there's no way to kill off the Void Caller just yet.
Well, though, I mean, there is the Hunter's Mark still existing in the deck somewhere. We saw that when Zolay played it in Game 6 up against the Rogue from Osaka.
No, I meant like the Warlock wants to kill it off.
Oh, correct.
Better demon out.
Yes, sorry.
Like the Hunter does not want to kill it.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Boom almost looks like you want to play it, but then you look at the board and you're like, it's not nearly as impactful as I want it to be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the borders are green. You have Dr. Boom. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's glowing
feels-
green, you play it.
It really feels like the best chance to win too, because if he crashes the boarding, because the Warlock, if he has a demon, will sort of want the Void Caller to die sometimes, and if you can get past these taunts, you have more damage to end the game potentially.
I think he has to play it. What else would be a winning play? I don't think any of the other cards make any sense at all.
No, you're right.
No, because you already swing with the bow this turn anyways.
Yeah.
If Eaglehorn Bow could attack twice and had Wind Fury, maybe you can make a case for it, but not in this scenario. I think Dr. Boom.
Just put your faith in the boom bots and top flippers.
Put your faith in the boom.
What's your face? in-
Boom bots.
Put your boom in their face.
Oh.
Oh, that's looking good. So actually, the double in gang boss allows you to get either of the 2 demons out guaranteed, and suddenly things are looking a bit cooler.
What's great about it too is that they're also high value targets for boom bots in a sense, because if they hit them anything less than 4, it creates more minions on the board. So it helps you improve your power, and you can even kill Dr. Boom pretty effectively this turn. You are worried about your health count, but when you have Mal'Ganis, you're just
Really wants the Mal'Ganis out here, not the Doom. But I think the Mal'Ganis would kind of seal the game up.
Yeah.
Since there's no hunt. Unless he top decks the Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, or Iron Beak Owl even.
well, he can even clear the board after. No, he can't. Yeah, that would have been devastating.
This is a really important trade.
It is, because if the Doom card comes out... Oh, but it did. There is a chance for Zalay to still take this.
Yeah.
Zalay with the 8 damage in his hand, 4 on the board. If that boom bot
No,
connects
man.
for 2
I'm
damage,
No,
scared
don't do it. Don't do it, man. He's so close to lethal too. It's god.
But he has no
So
beast.
so short of the damage. Is it gonna be an RNG turn where you hope? Thing is, Mal'Ganis can't come down now. It's impossible.
Yeah, he's also worried if he's gonna die next turn, which he will on board. But if he eliminates, like if he hits into the wall, actually if he hits the face for enough damage.
Oh, is that
Wait.
one off?
He's one
one
damage
off.
off. 2, 8, 10. I only count 10.
Forsen is face palming. He's like, there's no way this is happening to me again.
Well, right now the tables have turned. Zalay is 1 damage off lethal.
Yeah. Oh
If
man.
this is the
Oh
face
man. Okay. It didn't.
Oh.
That does more harm than good.
Yeah.
With this next game to deal with. How much damage does
But
Forsen
he's
have?
not dead. He's not dead yet though. Even if he could, yeah, he's gonna be 1 up.
So,
Put him down so he can up. Oh, but he okay.
yeah. So he's gonna swing and hit the face,
Survive,
and then put it down to kill command kill anyways.
Okay.
He can do it. He can
this
do it.
is really good. Because power overwhelming would be 1 off.
I don't even know what.
So it has to be the last Doom card or two cards.
Oh, he's got to tap into something else then.
He's gonna have to find an answer right off the top.
If he puts his faith in the Void Walker, it's gonna lose.
What can you even top deck anyway? Like Void
That's-
Caller, then you.
God. Has to be the Doom God.
Yeah, you're right. It has to be.
Yeah.
Doom.
Only way. Unless he plays a Loatheb. No, Loatheb would help. It would help. Right? No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Happen.
Oh,
He would-
you're right, because he taps the 3 health.
So the only way to win is to tap into the last Doom God.
No, he makes the trade. Putting his faith in the Void Walker, he's gonna suffer for
man,
it.
that is another win for Team Archon now. And you know, he's
5-3.
not happy to see second kill command, which is unlikely based off of the way Hunter drew, but ends up being the case here. And Archon is at match point.
That boombot, man. That boombot.
That's boom, but
Well, I mean, it was either doing 1 damage or 2 damage in that case, and it ended up doing the 2 damage.
yeah.
Really close stuff, but it's really funny given the odds of hitting out of those 5 targets hitting the face.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Forsen, I mean, he did miss lethal in the previous. Well, miss lethal. Let's not put it that way, because there was no miss lethal effectively, but
In that
he missed
sense.
that 1 damage, and that could have gotten him the win, and you'd be not having to replay that zoo again.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, the snowball effect is like real. Now it's 2 games because of that 1 miss damage.
Yeah.
All right, well, that means Warrior has 3 chances up against Warlock, Hunter, and Warrior himself. The worst.
Forsen is locked out now. Forsen
Yeah.
is locked out. He lost 2 games in a row.
He's benched.
Yep.
Benched, yes.
So Chalky has his Hunter, which feels like 50-50, although we don't know what kind of Hunter it is. It could be super aggressive. It could be more of a defensive mid-range. Osaka also could be bringing out Control Warrior. We haven't seen it all series yet.
No, we haven't seen it yet. He's only played the Rogue and got 1 win, 1 loss with it.
Yeah, so it could still be either one. I think we might be about to find out.
There was a tweet from Shocky saying, "I got my first loss in the ATLC. I'm counting on the Shocky boy, the Forsenboys to carry me." It's like, well, 5-3. It's kind of there's a lot of pressure here. I mean, Patron is the type of deck that wins against anything just out of nowhere. Maybe they're gonna go for the, because you can't put, if it's Face Hunter, you're not pushing it at all. So you might go for the coin flip with both Patron Warriors being played.
Yep, I think that's the case. 2 Warriors. Control would be a huge surprise.
All right. Well, Control Warrior versus Control Warrior is a very slow matchup, and in the interest of having the broadcast end today, I think it'd be good if one of them was Patron.
What is about the Face Warrior? You forgot about that one, man. You can't discount the Mortal Strikes until you see.
Oh
Mortal
yes, I
Strike.
can. Have you seen Sludge Belcher? And have you seen Arcanite Reaper? Like, have you seen that interaction ever happen one time? You know, Face
Yeah.
Warrior died the day Naxxramas came out.
Yeah. What do you mean, Annoyotron's not bad enough?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's just like, oh man, whenever I tried playing Face Warrior and then I see Sludge Belcher come out, I'm like, oh, that's right. That's why I don't play this class.
They need to give more removal to warriors where they can actually kill taunts right away. Like in one
Yeah.
shot. Silence and destroy a taunt minion.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have what looks like to be patron warriors on both sides here. Zolay is the one that has the coin and the Emperor. Is it ever worth keeping something like the Emperor because it could be super valuable, or do you value draw so much early on that that's more important thing?
I'd keep Emperor, but then again,
Yeah.
who am I?
Depends on the matchup. You know, in some matchups, if you know you're against aggro, you should throw it back. But I'm almost certain he's gonna keep it here because he's up against another warrior. There won't be things to fire your Orax or anything, so he doesn't need to dig for a weapon that aggressively.
Yeah, and he's also got the Patron in his hand after the mulligan, so that's one of the biggest pieces that he can use in this deck, because there's really no way for the enemy warrior to handle your patrons.
That's true.
It's like
It's
one of the
really
few matchups.
Both players with only minions in hand. Oh, and there's one weapon, but no spells. No spells.
Yeah, there's one weapon. Wow, that's exciting.
Well,
Really?
it's just classic warrior versus warrior, and for all the other person can guess, it still could be control warrior too. Like,
Yeah.
like, is it control warrior? Do I have to be really careful? Do I have to be aggressive? I mean, it's hard to tell. And this Acolyte can't get punished versus Zolay's Acolyte will get
it's really
punished
good.
if he goes for it.
Yeah, it's really scary to drop an acolyte in there because then if if Ostkaka had a Inner Rage or a Cruel Taskmaster, his Acolyte would end up drawing 3 and Zale would only get 1 card.
Yeah, but then again, you've got the Emperor,
Mhm.
so I guess even if you draw just 1 card, you're still gonna be happy because you're gonna draw off the Gnomish and then possibly follow it up. But you're right. I think Cruel Taskmaster and Inner Rage would be very big problems here for Zele.
Well, I mean, and more importantly, it's like, you know, there's this thing where you don't want to fall too hard behind the card count. Plus, even drawing with 1 on the Acolyte is kind of okay because you have 2 Gnomish Inventors and Emperor Thorson to reduce a bunch of cost.
Yeah,
So I can
that's true.
understand why, but at the same time, you know, he did end up getting punished. Now there's a Deathbite out there challenging whatever comes out. Plus, if, you know, other things come out like Grim Patron, Inner Rage, Whirlwind.
Yeah. I don't know. This weapon here is going to be fairly effective, but it's not going to be able to give you... I mean, he's going to get at least 1 patron out of it if he wants to copy it, and that's going to force Zali to respond to it. You know, if Askalka decides to pop the weapon, he's getting the initiative on it. I mean, sure, the opponent's got the Emperor Thorson for a better potential turn, but at the moment, he's got the initiative, and in this matchup, very often, that's all it takes.
Yeah, but you don't.
Oh, wow! This is
guys.
insane.
That
I
might
thought-
be a good draw right
Yeah.
there. That is such a good card to get.
Yeah,
I was about
thought-
to just go for 2 patrons. It's not enough. You need the 4, and that's it then.
And he draws a card.
Good
But, like,
game.
If he picks up another way to like really seal it in terms of like board control, then there's really no way to deal with it.
You mean Warsong Commander Whirlwind's not enough with the
It's
axe?
almost impossible to deal with.
Right?
I mean, I
that
don't-
helps. That helps you deal with 3 patrons.
No, he can kill 3.
Oh, okay. You mean Zele? No, I don't
Just
think
3
Zele's
more.
got. I mean, he's got Slam, Execute. He's got a Whirlwind, so he can kill 3 of them. But
Yeah, execute the.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
the Execute Slam. Sorry, Execute Slam. Deathbite. That's not bad, but
I think.
Do you
think-
go for like just Emperor and hope to top deck a Warsong? I don't know. This is like so much pressure.
I would play Deathbite Slam Execute here. I'm too scared of anything else.
Not enough mana for all that.
You
No,
can just
without
execute Inner Rage Deathbite. It does the same.
Oh yeah, Inner Rage
Sure,
can do
yeah.
it. Inner Rage and
Inner Rage.
Slam. You see, he's slamming over it there.
Yeah, you keep the execute then, so he can.
But I'd keep the Inner Rage for my own patron for the following turn because I'm popping everything up, unless you don't want to use the Execute here.
Yeah, I actually kind of like. I really like that, keeping the Inner Rage there. Because the Deathbite would have still cleared everything. And it's likely that the Ostkaka is gonna kill that 5-1 himself anyway, with another Whirlwind effect. I would have really loved to see him keep the Inner Rage in that situation. Like, okay, the 5-1 can't duplicate anymore anyway.
Yeah, and, as far as he knows, no one's
Yeah, but he
healing
couldn't
it up.
kill the 3/3 in that case. It's kind of an awkward position for Zele, but I think he's getting out of it pretty well if you look at the board and the hand that they've got. Like, it hasn't gone out of control yet. I mean, the Whirlwind's going to make it so Ostkaka's going to draw all the cards.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, now you're back to the same problem as before. He's drawing more cards. There's another Grim Patron on the board. Deathbite doesn't kill it all. You have to execute it, and then you're spending so much of your turn removing that it's like really awkward. And here's another thing too: if you use Deathbite to remove,
Oh, you're fine.
you're
you
giving
can
him
do
more
it.
cards.
No, you execute the 3/2, you attack the 3/3 after playing your own patron, and now let the Skaka deal with that.
If
Yeah,
he
but
only
then you-
kept the Inner Rage, he could get 4 patrons himself now, while clearing all of Ostkakas.
Oh man, there's so many little things here with those
Yeah,
patron
yeah.
mirror matches. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a really
Love
good
it.
point to bring up, considering that it gave him board dominance over a bunch of 1-attack minions. It'd be a 1/1 Acolyte and a 1/2 Armor Smith. Now, what's funny enough is that you never know on the opposite end if your opponent has Warsong and Unstable Ghouls and Frothing Berserkers. As the game develops, you have to be somewhat cautious with how you develop your board because then your opponent can reverse kill you right back.
Yeah, life coach style.
Life coach style, indeed.
Well, speaking of the devil, there's no patron at least, but the Frothing Berserker could be a big issue soon.
Yeah, but he's got a very easy kill on it. You know, the
Yeah.
cool he can first
Cool
battle
task
rage. First you battle rage, draw a lot of cards.
Oh yeah, he can fill his hand here.
Yeah.
Back to full.
Then Cruel Taskmaster and Fire War Axe allows you to clear the board.
Mm-hmm.
Seems really good.
Yeah, I played. I was casting a tournament in Vulcan. I think there was some player made the mistake of trying to whirlwind off his opponent's patrons.
Ha! We've all been there before. The very first day I faced against Patron, it's like I also didn't realize. I didn't realize that like patrons die and before or they don't copy before they die. So I had a full board and I kept whirlwind queuing. And I kept killing my own patrons, and by the end, I had like 2 patrons on my board.
After killing them all.
Because I whirlwind too much, and I ended up like...
That's what you get for committing Sudoku.
It's like, everyone was like learning in the first few days. So
Yeah.
Alright,
All right.
this is interesting. It makes a little bit more aggressive line of play.
Sure.
Adding minions. Well, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I like it because it makes it less vulnerable to a few things. The Warsong Grim Patron or something, you know, there's less minions that are weak on the board. Also, if the Whirlwind effect comes out, it kills his minion once, so there's less opportunities for Frothing Berserkers to do a lot of damage too. So I like it's a very good mix of play. It's overall stronger on a lot of levels.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Now the question that Zully is asking himself is, how do I clear the board and get rid of the Warsong Commander at the same time? Because that thing can't stay. Or can it? Like, do you just fire War Axe on Stable Ghoul and leave it at that?
Might even just Gnomish Inventor, because like you need to, but like draw cards.
It's weird to play them stable, but I guess he's fearing for his life total.
Yeah, he actually, that's a good point. He might just die. Gromosh, for example. No, he still dies at Gromosh. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Does he?
Does he?
Oh wow! Actually,
no,
he
he
that.
would. He would because of the
Does he
armor.
still-
Should do it, right?
Wait. Warsong, Frothing, Ghoul, or Whirlwind effect rather.
Because all the ghouls are gonna go off. Yeah, that's easy enough. There's not that many minions. Like those are gonna die on the first wave.
Yeah, but the Acolyte represents 2 damage. So,
Yeah.
well, it's not enough to kill your opponent, but I think it's going to be enough to put him in a really weird spot. At the very least.
2, 4, and then the whirlwind effect would be on.
Bump that, yeah.
That's a 7, 10.
13.
Plus another whirlwind on 2. That's I count 14 damage. Or no,
I think
maybe
one of the
he-
minions dies. I think it's down to 12. I don't know. We'll see exactly. It's kind
Oh
of like a
wait,
Crips.
no, this acolyte attacking is really big. I think that gives him the extra damage.
That's what I said. It's like it's accounting for 2 extra damage instead of 1. So it's doing, and the Armor Smith also gives you the extra 2 that otherwise would try to go face. And then you can play your Whirlwind on 2 minions. And then
It's
punch
only
face for like
possible,
12 or something.
No, wait, never mind.
Oh, yes, no.
Alright. It'd be
Yes.
10. Alright.
Yeah, I forgot the minion died too.
Still pretty good.
You don't get to count those
Yeah.
minions in the whirlwind effect.
But still,
Yeah.
still, that's a really weird position to be stuck in as a lay without an execute.
Yeah.
You're gonna be pushing for that draw.
He has to draw here. Drawing for a way to deal with that. Oh, could he like Warsong Gnomish? Well, no, that's so horrible.
I mean, you could do it, but then you're dead to any weapon.
Yeah, I mean, he would leave him down to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because he would have to use the weapon to clear off the 2-2.
I think it's left to execute draw, and you have 2 chances to do it.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I kind of won actually, because then he would die to them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
he can
really...
armor up if he draws twice and executes.
Alright, so...
But it's not mana to armor up.
So this has to be a execute off the top. No, he doesn't have enough mana to armor.
Okay, this gives him enough armor, enough mana to armor up. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Unless
No,
he's
it
still-
doesn't.
about to execute.
No, he does not have enough. Okay, that does it.
Yep, and that means that Forsenboys is alive. Forsen still up for grabs here, and he's officially unbenched. And Osaka is also done for the day.
So it's all down to Forsen, isn't it?
No, and
Or-
Chucky.
And Chalky still has the hunter, which we
Right.
haven't seen.
So those two, yeah.
And I have
Forsen with the
to
2 and Chucky with the
imagine-
hunter.
I have to imagine the hunter comes out here from Chalky.
Probably.
The Warlock deck still seems suspect to Patron, in my opinion. I'm not feeling
Yes.
like the early game minions are strong enough, especially when you're looking at cards like Voidwalker and Haunted Creeper ever existing in the Warlock deck.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that matchup is the Warlock has to go really aggressive and need to end the game basically before the Warsong and Warsong Patron. Because when the Warsong Patron thing happens, it's with all the kinds of spiders and things out there, it's just not gonna work out. And it might not be fast enough. It's a little bit slower version of the Zoo. He's running the Malganis, he's running the Void Cores instead of the hyper aggressive like double flaming
Right.
and with Dire Wolves, and there was a Dire Wolf, but it's still a little bit slower. So it might be really rough to end the game before that combo happens.
Yeah, I think it's actually really difficult for Zoo to win anymore. Like against Patron, it's like one of the most uphill battles you can get. Like, is there even a worse matchup for Zoo at the moment in the meta? Like, I can't quite think of one. That feels like the worst, if not like one of the worst, if not the worst.
That's pretty bad. Freeze Mage is pretty bad too.
Right. I think they're like
Face
the most
Hunter is
difficult.
also horrible. Like face version of Hunter. Mid ranges are not that bad, but face is really bad.
Wait, sorry, I missed your question. I kind of cut out. You're saying, is there any?
Yeah, a worse matchup than Patron, because I feel like Patron's the toughest matchup you'll run into, and then maybe Freeze Mage. Those are kind of like the most difficult.
Those are generally really difficult. Oh, any kind of like defensive mage, even Grinder Mage is really difficult.
Echo as well.
Echo Giants Mage is great at aggro.
It's all because of the way that Zoo needs to deal its damage with the minions on board instead of from hand like some other aggressive decks do, or with hero power like Hunter does. And just the tools to freeze, like any kind of freeze spells are so efficient against it.
Because even defensive classes like Ramp Druid and Control Warrior need to have the right cards at the right time, and it can often be like a coin flip, like, oh, do I have a weapon, or oh, do I have Innervate type thing. So
yeah. Exactly.
Here we go. Warlock it is for Forsen. He wants to get this over with and send it to game number 11 with Chalky at the helm at the Hunter. I apologize. I said 5 games is what Delay has to work with. He only had 3 games to work with. I kind of miscounted there. And this is game number 2. So if he loses this game, we have one more game following, in which case Archon could be potentially dropping, and Forsenboys squeak out with a 3rd win and be 3-0, which is huge. Because they don't count how many losses that you have. Ultimately, if you win the series, it doesn't matter what the score is, as long as you get the series points.
Okay, Flame Imp is excellent for Forsen. The big thing here is going to be whether or not Zelay draws the Fiery Vorax. Because if he doesn't find it, that Flame Imp might end up dealing 9 or even 12 damage.
Well, 15 if you count the 3 to the Warlock. He's just a chaos.
Yeah, sure.
Chaos card, man.
Was that the blowback thing?
Yeah, it's blowback. Flame Imp is blowback.
No War Axe here for the Warriors, so that's gonna be a bit of a slow start. No Armor Smith either. So no Cruel Task. It's kind of a.
That's exactly what you do. This does he get it? No, that's Flame Imp. Because now there's going to be new minions coming out every turn, and there's always going to be that one extra that you can't kill.
It's actually higher priority targets too. Knife Juggler takes precedence over the Flame Imp in terms of dying.
These are going to add up to so much damage. That's the dream start against this. Having those high damage. Ooh, but it's one turn late. It's still good. It's still good, but it's that critical one turn late. Because now it can't keep up with that. He can kill the Juggler, but the Flame Imp. Is gonna keep going.
What if a Void Walker comes out here? Like, what's your plan? Oh man, he's getting a turn 5 Void Tyrant and a Ruby Egg. A turn 4 with a coin, that is. I mean, it's just insane.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And you can do it. He knows that there's no brawl in Zalay's patrons.
Do you feel confident enough to drop something to fight back on the board aggressively, like the Frothing, or would you go for Acolyte to try to get more cards and see if you can get more responses?
That's a really tough call. I'm actually not sure, because I feel like he's falling behind, so he should Frothing. But on the other hand, Death Spite would be such a great card to have. So do you try to maximize your chances of drawing it by playing the Acolyte? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think ultimately it boils down to like where your execute is gonna go, because the Acolyte and the Frothing both enable it. The only difference is like Abusive Sergeant punishes you a bit more now than it did a second ago, because you don't have the Cruel Taskmaster. Like there's a few little differences here in the way this lines up, but ultimately I think the Frothing is the more board-centric play. It's more immediate.
Really, for Forsenboys' sake, I'm really hoping that he goes for the Echo and Void Terror. So adding that 7 power, he needs to end the game quickly, and he needs to add that 7 power right now. He is going for it. Absolutely the right play here.
Zelly top decks Whirlwind, plays Acolyte, top decks another Whirlwind, goes face.
I I mean, what's really rough is oh man, second Frothing Berserker. What's really rough is that there's no like execute activators.
Yeah.
So there's like execute sitting there as an awesome high value card, but you need to activate it somehow.
Frothing doesn't even kill any of those as it is.
Do you attack the 3/5 then play Battle Rage to draw? Like, is there some kind of
Maybe.
Battle Rage play, or are you just trying to play very, very...
I kind of like that one. I mean, I think he has to do the battle rage, and the way to do it is by damaging that, and it does enable the execute. It's such a poor execute though, because you know that there's even bigger things in the deck to execute.
Yeah. So it's
He
good
kind
for
of
Forsen
feel
here.
forced to do it.
Yeah. Although, this is a position where, as Forsen, you know one of the Frothings dies to a Whirlwind effect, so at least, you know, that's not a big worry. But there's a lot of damage on the board. Like, if the AoE starts piling up and that second Frothing lives and you're flooding the board, yeah, you kind of have to silence.
Forsen is looking so good in this. I mean, when you see an execute like this happen, like on a Void Terror, it's I feel like it's the same thing as when you see your opponent do an Ancient of Lore heal on himself.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's just as desperate.
That's a good analogy, I think. There's the Ancient of Lore heal of Warrior.
Because there
Execute
will
on
be
the
the
crappy
Malaganis, there will be a Dr. Boom and Doom Gods and all. Wow,
Wow, this is actually hilarious to me.
That's Frothing.
He's like, I'd like to go phase, but I can't.
Just wait for the commanding shout one day to punish somebody. Where the commanding shout doesn't allow your minion to die this turn, so just like commanding shout, whirlwind, death.
Well, it was pretty good. Like when Patron came out, some people were trying it like as a core piece of their deck, but it didn't stick around as a result of it being too situational.
The rat played a lot of it back when he was climbing to #1, but not sure how he feels about it nowadays. We'll have to check up on it. Zale would love to normally drop Emperor Thorson and try to get some value back, but he finally draws a weapon. A little bit too late. Does he have
Rage
any
ever
room
play?
at all to be aggressive? And I don't think so. Does he, Savitz?
no.
I don't see how he picks up anything that kills his opponent. I mean, 2 Frothings are out. His Patron combo is not coming out next turn, even if he gets like a perfect draw, and he's dead if he doesn't. Oh, he's dead. Okay, he's gotta have to trade, so he'd be dead
Or-
otherwise.
No, it's not quite enough. If he trades for the biggest minion, he does.
Yeah, he has to. There's no real choice. So now he's gonna live a little bit.
So there's 7 on the board and 12 in hand. If he picks up a power overwhelming, that would do it.
It's still okay too.
Yeah, not bad at all. Juggler, defender.
Yeah, you
No.
actually that's pretty good too, because the one thing that you'd be worried about is like Grim Patron coming back on the board, but the defender buffs the 2 liabilities.
Yeah. You
Back
get both of
into,
his two
relevance.
toughness minions.
Yeah.
3. I think that's really good. At this point, you can just ignore it. I mean, it's gonna be trading into something anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why on earth would you trade for it?
There's
Well,
nothing
that's
that
Juggle. Juggle makes it a little bit like no, but still with the
I
Doom
think
card.
you still push. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so too.
it's too tempting.
Yeah.
I mean, what could
Not
come
the
out? Like you
base.
said, the
That's
Patron.
gonna be trading. That will trade anyway.
Like if it was later in the game and he had more mana, then you'd be worried maybe about weaving in like an execute on that
Oh,
turn with an inner rage, and then he starts getting infinite patrons, and then you can't come back. But as of right now, it's really just not gonna happen.
Yeah, that should be game. Can he battle rage into the patrons or
Unless
something?
he has Brawl, right?
Yeah, Battle Rage Brawl, here it comes.
Which is very rare in a Grim Patron deck.
Don't think it's in there.
I still think you're the only Patron warrior I've seen like confidently run Brawl more than one game in a competition before. Savitz.
I don't know if I played it in a tournament. I'm not sure, but I did play some of it on ladder, and it actually worked quite well. It's really good against other patrons. But that's almost it. But it was just
like
that day when I played it. I played it all day, and over half the games that day were other warriors, so it seemed like a good inclusion.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty good against Handlock as well. It's one of those things where when you're playing Patron, they will go like full-on aggression, like flood the board as much as they can, and you can punish them for that. So Brawl is a good inclusion in some
It's amazing. Like when you do the either turn 5 or turn 6 with 6 patrons. I mean with 4 patrons on the board. It just demolishes that if you have a weapon out already. And the value also goes up if you If your opponent doesn't know that you're running it.
He's still dead, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
really
got-
cute play to try to reduce the size of the bolt, but he's still dead
Wow.
on board.
Yeah.
Now, Forsen can choose to take his time. Do whatever he chooses to please. Forsen is done for the day. He's got his 2 wins.
Yep.
Forsen trying to figure out which of the 2 ways is more BM. I
Which
guess
brings
the
us-
roping is the best one.
brings us to game 11, guys. And Archon was up 5-3 after Zalay was able to grab a game 8 win, but looks like it's going to be really challenging for him to close this match.
It's all tied up now, and it's gonna come down to Chucky's Hunter against Dalay's patrons. Such a big deal. Like, this is where it gets intense. There's so much on the line in just one game.
Yeah, and the matchups can be pretty polarized, like depending on what type of hunter. We haven't seen it yet, right? So like mid-range hunter is bad, but it's not as bad as face, like by a tiny margin. So it really depends on what Shocky brought. I don't know. We'll see.
Mid-range would be way better, but
I'd be surprised,
Chucky
though.
was
Chuck-
face a lot.
I feel like I haven't seen Chalky bring mid-range hunter in like ever. I feel like it's
I
always
agree with
been
you.
more phase. But surely he has to have brought mid-range hunter at one point. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, I just remember him as a face hunter player as well.
Okay.
Like, I've seen him play hunter maybe 5 times or so, and it's always been face. It is gonna be rough for him if that's the case again.
Yeah, like face with an ooze deck, just because you can. Be kind of fun.
Okay. Well, let us know what you guys think. It's game 11, so whoever wins this will end up taking the victory. Remember, Archon's 1-1, and Forsenboys are 2-0. So this is a very decisive opportunity for Forsenboys to continue to be undefeated, join Team Nilum, and Archon can join the upper echelons of the teams here. Let us know what you think. Hashtag ATLC and join the conversation. Those are who you're rooting for. I'm not sure if either of you guys are cheering for a specific team. As casters, you shouldn't, so don't tell me the answer.
I can tell you the answer. I'm not rooting for a specific team.
Yeah,
He wants
me-
both to lose if possible, so Liquid have a better chance in the following weeks. I
That
think
sounds
that's
like a
the reason.
really pragmatic approach to rooting for people. But I mean, I like both teams, honestly. I feel like they both play very well. And Forsenboys, I mean, it's kind of like the underdog going into the event. But at this point, when you've seen them win, 2 weeks in a row, I think the underdog status is thrown out the window.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that statement. They are not. I wouldn't see them as underdogs by any means.
Yeah.
Okay, we can see there's a lace hand, but the more exciting one is the hunter hand right now, which we should see in just a second. Roping a little on the mulligans.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to make sure to get the spectating feature
Yep.
to work. Either way, I've been seeing more people like flip-flop on whether or not this matchup is 50-50 or leaning over towards a certain way. I think we're going to have to really see the early game dependent draws. Cards like Harrison Jones does end up helping if it becomes relevant, though, but Hunter doesn't need a weapon to curve out really well and still impact the board.
Yeah,
not
it's
anymore.
surprising.
That's true.
It's surprising how often I've had it. When I've been playing Warrior, the Harrison has just been useless. Like, it's supposed to be great. There's weapons in the Hunter, but I've had it happen so many times where it just doesn't do anything, or it's not even meaningful anymore when you play it. It's too late already.
He needs Glaive Zuka here. Oh, actually, Iron Beak Owl could sustain the exact same role. I was gonna say Glaive Zuka is pretty much the only top that is getting him out of this without having to waste a quick shot.
Yeah, Clive Zuka would have been even better, but if he didn't draw the towel, he would have been in horrible shape. Like, which one do you throw away, Quick Shot or Juggler?
Yeah. Well, I think Juggler would have been horrible to throw away. Isn't it like
Yeah.
a much better card in this case? Because you're basically giving the
Oh, yeah.
pool on its own. Just too
Yeah,
much
the Quick
value.
Shot might be needed for the draw at some point too. Work an Infiltrator.
You can hope. You can always hope for that organ to do what it has to with the juggle.
Yeah. If the
If it-
Juggle doesn't hit... Oh, this is so tough, because if he doesn't make the trade for the Ghoul, the Whirlwind would just clean it up.
Yeah, Whirlwind would be devastating here. I mean, I guess at least you're playing Shredder into it, so you're forcing him to have the weapon. If you do that, so it's really not that bad. But honestly, Zalay's hand is really good against a hunter. Picked up the Ghoul right off the bat, and then 2 Armor Smiths and a Slime, which also can be used as a pseudo removal, even without the card draw. So pretty crazy.
We can see that going for face here would be the best play, but that's such a difficult decision. Like he would look pretty bad if there was a whirlwind right now. Just a cool trading into the juggler and whirlwind cleaning to get all that.
Oh yeah, and I think patron players have been getting more aggressive about their defensiveness against Hunter. Like there was a post yesterday on one of the forums about how Kalento against a turn 1 Leper Gnome is willing to whirlwind, just that desperate to make sure, or that that adamant about making sure not to take too much damage from Leper Gnomes. Whether or not it's the right play or whether or not he just really hates Leper Gnomes, it could be one or the other. But in this case, it ends up being the right play.
I think it's one of those things that you have to evaluate based on looking at your entire hand. Like, for example, if you don't have a cruel taskmaster or anything to deal with it on the following turns, you might think of it that way. That if I don't whirlwind right now, it's gonna be there for 4 turns. It's gonna deal 8 damage. So it's like you have to think it long term. Like, do I have a way to deal with it later on if I leave it up right now?
Yeah, that's an excellent way to analyze it for sure. And Chalky even willing to try and shut down the double armor smiths, which is very, very important because if his opponent had cool taskmaster, it's gaining like 6 armor, and as the face hunter, you're just not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, Zale looking crazy right now, but he might still whiff on the draws. It's possible that he doesn't get the things that he needs. But when you had
wow
HP against the face hunter on a turn like this.
Yeah, I think if Shocky wants to win, he has to be playing hybrid with his high mains at the top of the curve. But the thing is, the weapons are also dead as a result of Zale playing that Harrison Jones. You mentioned earlier it was a pretty bad card very often because you don't get to stem the bleeding. But in this case, with the start he had, I think it's going to be much more effective.
Yeah, we saw the Walken Infiltrator earlier, so that's almost a certain signal that there won't be any high mains coming. We see the Leper Gnomes in the same deck with high mains, but I haven't seen the Infiltrators in the same deck ever.
Yeah, agreed.
Wow, alright.
Saving the whirlwind.
Because he knows that this is a high priority target for removal anyways.
Ooh, well that's a good draw.
Yeah, that's a really good draw.
That's as good as it gets. Well, let's not count Chucky out just yet.
Yeah, on top of the fact that we don't know if Chalky is running high mains anymore. The Shredder's already kind of suspect because if it's truly face, I think they don't really run the Shredder as often. And then Lotheb is already kind of like another red flag. It's like, is this really all damage charging Hunter? Which it could realistically still have Arcane Golems and Wolf Riders, but maybe it does have those high mains and freezing traps.
It's hard to tell. I mean, it could be that he mixed up that one Infiltrator. Like that's almost the only thing that points to the Face Hunter right now. We haven't seen a single Charger yet, but it's just so rare to see an Infiltrator in the same deck. But we'll see. We'll see. It's interesting to see.
Okay.
So, quick shot you're probably going to want to keep for the cycle effect. So, do you ever juggle Unleash just for the one card and then see where... Because if it hits the 5/4 with the knife, then at least you keep the Hound.
But then you don't get the hero power.
Right, which is a big deal in a position like this where you're trying to maximize your damage output.
But losing Lotheb might even be worse, I think.
Oh, he's just going to push. Alright.
Alright, that's fine too.
That's actually better, yeah. By
Next turn, you should be able to fill out the mana curve. Also, you know what? I really like this too because now you're putting multiple targets that are worth killing. Like, you need to kill a Lotheb, you need to kill a Knife Juggler, and if you have weapon, you're going to also be receiving some of that blowback. So you need to...
you need to stop throw that.
Yeah. You really need to
focus.
Make sure to shut that down as soon as possible.
Alright.
That Lotheb might just end up winning the game. This is looking so hard now because Zale probably doesn't play any shield blocks. And both armor smiths are already dead, so those like spikes of more HP are not happening. They won't happen ever again. He's not gonna heal up like much more. So it's gonna be so interesting.
Okay.
That's the battle rage.
Really helpful.
Inner Rage needs to get picked up, and he finds
that Inner Rage draw. That was huge.
Yeah.
That was so big.
But now Shocky can maybe cycle his quick shot.
Depends on what he gets here.
Oh,
both.
That's good. That's convenient, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's convenient, sort of.
Yeah, definitely above average. Unless there's the high mains, then there's...
Yeah. I mean, now that Harrison Jones has been used, that's another 3 damage that's, you know,
Yeah, that's actually a big...
And he also protects the panda.
That's a good call, because that panda is going to get to deal 3 extra, it seems.
Yeah, so you make...
Unless the Acolyte charges into it. Or even the Gnomish. I mean, you go Warsong Gnomish, you draw, and then...
Yeah, I guess that's one way, but then he's not hero bowing again.
What about Emperor Thorson? Because now it's like you've somewhat stabilized enough of the board. You've already seen enough of the deck where you can kind of guess that it's hybridish. And so it's like he's going to be playing maybe a Charger or something, but then you start having a lot of cheap cards to go to. Is that too greedy to go for that play?
Yeah, I think his life total is so low that he wants to clear off that, and this seems to be the only way to do it, aside from the Acolyte. Okay. He has to be scared for his life total. He hasn't seen a single kill command yet.
That's true. That's also true.
Oh, that's rough. He probably has to clear off the Warsong, because otherwise, if he plays the Scientist and...
well, you can do it. I mean, you just empty your entire hand and cycle. I think you'd quick shot the...
Yeah, quick shot actually is better, yeah.
Yeah, I think very often that's what he does.
So he can even keep the bow if he wants to. No, probably not.
It's still fine because I think you hero power to make sure that you get the damage in. Quick shot is still
so you
important.
use the bow here to keep the quick shot. It's like maximizing it.
It's still threatening for sure.
It is.
Second patron not helpful.
Well, like none of these cards have. Well, Death Spite is the only with the immediate impact.
How about Thorson now? Is it still too unsafe? Actually, Thorson doesn't even do as much as I thought it would, compared to the previous turn where you make patron and the Warsong cheaper.
Yeah, for the following turn when you can start spawning multiple of them, but at this point it's really not that solid.
It doesn't do as much as you would hope it to do.
Yeah, I don't like it as much this turn.
Probably setting up the Death Spite seems to be the best.
Then the rest of the mana curve also is awkward, because then you'd want to armor up, and you only have enough to battle rage.
That's true.
Yikes!
Oh, he does run a shield block.
Wow!
Well, that's pretty clutch, but assuming it can go to that point...
Well, that was an important draw. I didn't expect him to have it in the deck.
Alright, here we go. Kill command off the top. First you kill command and quick shot, though. Oh no!
Oh no!
Alright, whatever.
So close.
Kill command here.
Kill
right?
Command would do
Just
it.
get it. There's 2 in there.
That would be it. Oh,
Hopper would do it. Does he
no
get
way.
it?
No way. He can't do it. There's no way. I refuse. No, he's smiling. He's got it. He's got it. He smiled.
No.
What? No!
He also missed the damage by doing it out of order, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he was too eager. He was smiling. I really thought he had it. I was like,
my goodness. The
Shocky,
quick
stop.
shot dream.
Stop doing these emotes with your
There's a
wrists.
shield block.
Yeah, now there's shield block. That could single-handedly determine the outcome of the game.
That is so huge with the shield. Like if he didn't have that, he could never attack because there's the explosive trap and all.
Wait.
Oh my!
And now he's got he's pretty firmly out of it, and I don't think Chalky has any more ways to really get the draw going.
I mean, you just start getting yourself those chargers. If you get that could be good.
Pretty good, but still.
The thing is, maybe that 1 damage he missed off of Leok will come in and really be a problem.
No, that would be too much. What if that decides the game? No way.
2 games for the Forsenboys end up dropping because of it. That'd be nuts.
Just no way.
If this minion is less than 3 attack, by the way.
Yeah,
that's another stabilization point. Okay.
It is.
He drops the minions before he can Mana Wraith can come out to screw him. I can appreciate that. I've been on the receiving end of Mana Wraith way too many times.
I guess at least you could fire War Axe, worst case scenario.
It's true. This plays around Doomsayer as well. Nope, not anymore.
Wow.
Oh, alright. Walker.
Yeah.
And in what universe is that useful?
Helps him now. That's pretty cool.
Heroic Strike.
Oh, I forgot about the trap. That's right. Explosive trap helps to duplicate it.
No, Kill Command still not lethal. He needs to pick up a Beast and Kill Command, which at the moment is not looking very likely. But he's not dead yet. He's got a few turns. Like if he's playing Void, well, he's got like 2 turns. If he plays like Wolf Rider, oh wow,
That's pretty bad.
It is.
The Frothing Berserker now gets buffed significantly. Not to mention that there's a Lore Walker Cho out there that you can't do anything about.
Yeah, if you
Buffs
play
the Frothing
stuff, then the
even
Wolf
more.
Riders will be dead.
Yeah.
but
He needed this to be a charger, and he needed the next card to be a charger, and that would.
and a weapon, yeah, a weapon or a charger.
Kill command. Beast and a kill command would also done.
Let's see. What this does do is put his opponent within an assumed range of 5 health, because he can put his opponent down to 5 here, and his opponent will take 2 more.
He's gonna be on 3 effectively, so he needs to pick up like an extra 3 from the top.
Exactly. Either another weapon with Eaglehorn Bow, or a Arcane Golem, or a Wolf Rider, or a Leroy, or Kill Command. Like, there's actually still a lot of opportunities, but he still needs to play this Explosive Trap, otherwise he's going to be out of range.
But that ruins the charger. Like if he plays a Leroy, because then Zale is gonna get. No, but he can't play it probably.
I think
Like Zale can play it back to counter the chargers. But Zale is getting a copy, so he could kill the Joe and then play his own Explosive Trap to be protected from every single Wolf Rider and similar.
yeah, it's true. No, it's very true.
Good.
How much damage is this? 2, 6, 8, 11, 13.
13, yeah.
13.
I mean, we're not even counting the patron here. I mean, he could play Fire War Axe and
I see 14 damage.
Unleash. Could Unleash. Like he can't play 5
Oh, you're right.
minions, right? He can't play
So
5
Unleash.
minions because then Unleash would do it. So you have to play 4 at the very most. It's got to be a weapon plus minion play. But what did he keep in your hand?
That's a
Like,
good
you have
point,
to
yeah.
be wondering right now, as Zali is, what did he keep in his hand? Because like, is that a charger that that he's trying to punish me with? Wait, if I overextend, like, what is it? Now he's safe from Unleash. He's not safe from Unleash weapon, but there's no weapon that he knows of.
Yeah, both quick shots are gone. And this is unless he plays Leroy, I think that this game's over.
Yeah. The
Leroy,
Explosive
oh, man.
Trap was his only way to potentially get the
Solid
charger, but now he's really hoping for a charger. Mad Scientist draw is the
It would have been so brutal if he threw an Arcane Golem there and was 1-0. It would have been like
This would have been the worst feeling in the world.
well,
absolutely.
on the
That
flip
one that he
side-
missed, Leok.
On the flip side, Zalay takes home the victory, and it took 3 tries, but the Patron Warrior did it. And more
Yeah.
importantly, it's the fact that Archon was able to take down Forsenboys, a team that's ahead of them in the standings. So, a job well done.
Yeah,
This
not too
is-
bad for Forsenboys either, getting those 5 wins. I think they sit quite comfortably in the standings still.
I mean, this is a really good. They're still in a really good position after losing this week. Like they're still up 2 wins in the entire series. They're actually, funny enough, I think Archon is equalizing and maybe going a little bit ahead as a result of winning the head-to-head. I'm not sure if that accounts for a lot, but they're going to be on the same score.
All right, sounds good. Well, guys, we want to give a big shout out to the Amazon App Store, as they are here helping us make this Team League happen. We're doing a giveaway where you can get $25 extra on top of $25 spent. So if you spend $25, basically Amazon will double down for you with a coupon code. The way to do it is go to the link. There's some giveaways also being listed on the Twitch profile. Check out. 50 winners will be given away by the end of today. So make sure to get part of that. And you can do it while we take a break, because I believe we're coming up for our second match of the day, which is Team Celestial up against Value Town. I'm not sure we're gonna necessarily rotate Savita out. I hope you've been having fun casting. Normally this is where we thank you for hopping back, and then wish you good luck. But we might even have you after the break. We'll see
Hopefully.
how things are going.
Okay.
All right, cool. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue the Archon Team League Championships. Don't go anywhere. Back in just a sec.